on, you already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live. Right now. Please pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope Soul sporting with the talk. First lady from New York, Brooklyn. All my people, you rocking with the chat. Hit that. The like button would tell me where you at. You know, step from the MBK. Born and raised up MBK. Hey, real lady when she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
What?
Dope Soul.
What?
Your soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Salute, Knick family. Welcome to a special edition of the Just Knickin' It show, our monthly ladies' night. Really looking forward to the conversation. If there's any ladies out there who want to join us on the monthly show, you could just DM me at Twitter at BKSteph33, and you are definitely welcome. I believe I got the best in the business assembled tonight. We're going to talk about, the regular season, who's the X factor or the surprise player, for the rest of the season. We'll talk about the playoffs as well. We'll talk about Thibodeau. We'll talk about Randle and the injury, and will this be the playoffs in which he'll shine, provided, he's healthy. Divo, McBride, we got a lot to talk about. Mitch possibly, coming back, whether it's championship or bust. I don't think so, but a lot of fans do. So we'll talk about that as well. So let me bring in the panel, lady and the chef from the two Knicks chicks, Ebony, aka Mad Knicks fan from Venture Sports Network and Nick of Time, and BxChris from everywhere. How's everybody?
You already know.
Shout out to the chat, by the way. How's everybody?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. It's nice seeing Ebony, BxChris, Stephanie, of course, for having me. I actually love that QR code you have. I am going to set it up so I can buy you a coffee. I think that's amazing.
Yes. Yeah. Listen, everybody, the top right corner. You see that barcode, the QR code with the buy me a cup of coffee. All you got to do is
hold for coffee.
That's right. All you got to do is hold the code up there, your phone there. It'll take you right to the site where you can buy me a cup of coffee. I appreciate it. I'm more a seltzer water, herbal tea girl, but don't worry. I'm the most hydrated host in Knick universe. So hold me down with my liquids.
Most
all right.
definitely.
Everybody doing good things. Like I said, I believe I have the best female panel. If there's other female panelists out there you want to join, let me know. But when we get together, it's really a good show that rivals, in my opinion, any male show, because in my opinion,
Steph.
Yeah. In my opinion, it doesn't matter whether you're male or female. It's about the Knicks. And I've been rocking with females before YouTube, having deep conversations about the Knicks. So I know the females was out there, and we finally here making our presence felt. So I'm super excited.
We here
about it.
We here. We in the building.
Yes, definitely. Anybody have any announcements before we move on to the first question?
I missed the Knicks.
I missed the Knicks too.
Knicks. It's crazy for me to even say this. I mean, I got a love-hate relationship with him, but I miss Randle. I'm gonna say it. I miss him. I feel like some of those games, if he was here, we would have been, in the game or won the game. So I definitely miss his presence, because even, he was on a run for a minute. He was doing 30-10, 30-10, 40-10, him and Brunson. So I really miss that, because I feel like, we probably going to get into it, but I felt like, everything kind of fell on Brunson when he left. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's like, if he had that counterpart, Yeah, I miss Randle. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, listen,
Yeah.
he's the second, and some people are going to their grave saying he's the first, but okay. He's at least the second best player on this team. And I know there are some out in Knick universe who feel like we can win a chip without him, or we can go to the Eastern
Nah,
Conference
they
Finals
bugging.
without him. I don't believe it.
Same.
I just don't. I just don't believe it. Say what you want to say about him and his turnovers at inopportune times. That's 5%, 10%. Of what at least this season he's bringing to us. A lot of it has been super positive. So yeah, hopefully he comes back. He talked today, and we can start with this if you like. He talked today. What I got from the conversation is he's trying to avoid surgery to do everything he can to come back this season, but at the same time, he's not going to jeopardize his career, because he wants to be at this for a long time, and that he's got different opinions from different, from different specialists. So he's still trying to come back. That's what I got from it. What did you guys get? What did you guys get from it?
Yeah, that's for me. I agree. I took that away as well. I know. Shout out to Divo. She had texted to me this afternoon, and she was like, "So what does this mean?" But when I read it, it was a link from Bleacher Report. I took that as Randall's determined to take this team as far as he can, and he doesn't want that surgery to get in the way of him getting back for the postseason. So he's trying to rehab and do everything he needs to do to get ready.
Right.
I know you mentioned on your podcast episode, Steph, on Monday, you were saying, the Knicks need him back to get down to pounding that ball down at the paint and, to do what he does. And Randle does that really well, where he's able to put the ball up in the air. The guys fall for the hesitation. He brings the ball back down. He's very patient where he can up and down and then get that dunk or that layup that he wants when he's playing that bully ball rebounding. But I just think that Randle, I think with the way the team has been playing, something has clicked for him. We saw an adjustment in the attitude change. I think the less mistakes on the court, like silly mistakes on the court. And I think him seeing the way the team has been gelling and winning, that feels good as a player to be able to witness and see. And guys, he's trusting guys a lot more. So I think that made him see like we can really go far. And I think when you've been on a team this long without any help, and finally to have the help and have the right players on the team, it makes you want to, you want to win. You're tired of losing. It feels good to be winning, but he sees that they can go really far. And I think Randle has that eye of the tiger, like we see in other players like OG Anunoby, like Brunson, like Precious, who they really want to get a championship here in New York. And I just think that with reading that, I think with Randle, right now he's like, chill. I'm gonna hold off as long as I can. I'm just trying to get back on the court and help my team so we can, get through the playoffs.
Okay. Give me a thumbs up, Pam, whenever you're ready. Yeah, for sure. Anybody else want to comment on Randall's injury?
Yeah, I'm a little skeptical. Like, I'm trying to be optimistic, but I don't know, these coded conversations and very vague. Everybody, Tibbs. It's just like, how serious is this? But one thing I did take away from it, and I'm like, all right, I'm a chill, is that they're talking about him working out like 2 times or whatever. So he's working out, and if you can do that, it can't be too bad to me in my head. I'm hoping. So, well, other than that, I just the whole team. I think they're just pushing to get better for playoffs. They're not really shooting for the rest of the regular season, just trying to be right for the playoffs, which is kind of crazy. Because last year was the opposite. We were pretty healthy until the playoffs. So hopefully this works out for us. The opposite, of what happened last year. Like last year, Josh Hart was he was hitting last year, and then couldn't hit anything in the playoffs. So I'm hoping that changes this year too. But yeah, I just think that everybody include Randle, OG, because his comments about his injury were a little vague too. They're just they're all trying to prep to be back for playoffs and maybe not show so much rush the process.
Oh, I don't think they should rush the process at all. I don't think they should rush the process at all, and I don't think they will.
I hope not.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody in the Knick organization that's going to rush them back. You know, I'm pretty sure the medical staff will let Tibbs and the player know they're ready, but I still think the player has to say, like the medical staff can say, you know what, I think you're ready. I don't think you're going to injure it any worse than it is. And the player can say, I don't feel comfortable. And that's what it is.
I agree. I think with iHeart, I thought he should have sat that till All-Star break. I didn't think he should have played when he did, and then it's like he re-aggravated it, and you don't play with the Achilles injury. So yeah, I don't know if that was his call or what, but yeah, I'm cool with resting. I'm getting, you get time to see what other people can do. Granted, it's maybe not their space, but just what they look like with added responsibility.
Right. Yeah, we was talking about that before the show, you know, went on. I think when if you have to, obviously, if people are out, people have to step up. Definitely. I personally don't think you want people out of their roles for a long period of time. If they have to, they have to. That's just what it is. You have to do it. But if a player can play and they get that clearance from the medical staff, the more you can have people in their roles, the better. You know. Yeah. Salute, Pam. How you doing?
What up, sis? What's going on?
I'm good. Is that the 70s? Is that the 49ers Super Bowl?
Oh, no. I'm a Giant fan. Sorry. This is Giants. Giants, baby.
Okay.
No.
All right. Because I was going to cut your time.
Nah. Giants all the way, baby.
Any thoughts on Randle, you know, and the injury and just how the Knicks have been playing without him?
For the most part, we need him back. You don't understand how, you know, having somebody that's down low, that's taking the most of the responsibility of the other players, you know, they got to play him. They got to D him. They got to put somebody, they got to bring somebody to him. And it opens up the floor. Nobody understands how good that is. And even with OG going out, you know, they're all attacking Brunson. So it's like, you know, we need those other two to come and open up the floor so that other people can, you know, play better, you know. And with his it's his off arm. So I'm thinking that, you know, he's trying to avoid the surgery and the thing until maybe like he did last year, you know, with his ankle. He waited until the season was over to do anything. So
yeah,
we'll see.
That's a good point. That's a point. Chris, anything on Randle and the injury and just us playing without him? And listen, he may not come back. I'm hoping at least 10 games left in the season, but I'm not even sure we get that. There's only 27 games left, by the way.
You're right.
I want him to take his time because we need him in the long run. So I don't want him to rush back and maybe make something worse. But I want to shout out to my boy Taj. He's sucking wind, but he's trying to hold us down. I be texting Steph like, yo, do you see how disappointed he is that that's something not for him? Because he be looking at Tibbs like, all right, I got one more time up here. I'm going to pass out. Yeah, but I'm ready for Randle to come back. But I want it to be at a point where he's healthy. I don't want him to come back and he's not 100%. Just so that we can make a run. You know, we have enough bodies to really, you know, make some noise. I mean, he's the big piece, but, you know, we got to next man up.
Yeah. And to the chat, I don't think anybody here is saying we should rush him back. I don't think anybody up here is saying that he should come back just so we can make this run. It's, you know, we're just talking about the injuries and just, you know, how we feel about Randle being out. All right. Thoughts on the Knicks up to this point, if you can think back to what you thought the Knicks would be coming into the season, the All-Star break is actually not the halfway point. Like I said, we have 27 games left. But just what's your thoughts on the Knicks up to this point, including the new additions? OG and Precious came in December, and then Bergson and Bojan Bogdanovic, who came at the trade deadline. Just your thoughts on the Knicks up to this point. We'll just go regular, Lady and the Chef, Ebony, Chris, Pam, and then we'll mix it up as we go along.
Well, for me, I think the Knicks have surpassed what we thought they were going to do. I did, and I still stand by the Knicks at 50 wins this season. But I will say with that, I hear the concept of next man up. I don't think there's anyone next to step up at this point. I think in the last 4 games, we saw that missing those 4 core guys between Randle, OG, Hartenstein, DiVincenzo, you see that those guys are truly missing and needed, especially not having a true center, someone to grab us those boards, or Randle out there to help guard the board, grab the board. I think guys have done a great job helping out on the boards. But one of the biggest takeaways for me so far with the Knicks is that the Knicks found their identity as a team. I think one of the reasons why we won was because we got rid of the individual ball play from both Randle and Brunson, and they started to play together as a team. And I think that team play is what really helped these guys to really start to win. I think there was this trust factor of Brunson and Randle being able to trust who they're throwing a ball to, and guys are going to either shoot or make their way to the basket. And I just think that guys were stepping up when they needed to. Guys were helping crashing the boards, not having Mitchell Robinson in, and just, cutting to the basket when Hartenstein gets the ball at the top of the key, and just knocking down shots, just playing more together. I think that was a big standout for me, is seeing the ball move. It wasn't stagnant. I noticed the difference once we don't have OG and Randle in. Sometimes on the offensive end, it is a little stagnant because I think there's this second guessing, and you have guys like Hart and maybe McBride has done a really good job. I thought he actually was surprisingly, I knew he was working on his game, but seeing how he's playing compared to Grimes, I really liked what I've seen, and I think he could be a nice piece for us, especially moving forward and in the postseason. But I just think that the Knicks found their identity. I thought after they did phase 1 of the changes and getting OG and Precious, OG fit in like a glove right away. I think Precious has found his way on this team. And I knew the Knicks were going to do a phase 2. And that phase 2 consisted of Burks and Bogdanovic. And I think they both are going to fit in. And I think they're going to gel in and come in respectfully throughout the postseason. So I just think that, the biggest takeaway for me is just seeing these guys come together and play as a team. When they do that, they're a lot more successful versus us relying on, we know Randle and Brunson could give you anywhere from 25 to 40 points in a night. Great, but it wasn't resulting in a consistent W. But when they play together as a team, this team is a really good, resilient, gritty, hard-playing team. And I just want the Knicks to carry that into the postseason and want it more in the postseason. When we played Miami last year, and I keep referencing that, Miami wanted it more. It wasn't because they were better. They just wanted it more. And I want the Knicks to have that same mentality. They've done it countless times throughout the season where they've crawled back or maintained leads, and they've done a great job of not allowing teams to come back. But I think that the Knicks still have some work to do, and that there are some teams, and I mentioned this on our last episode of Two Knicks Chicks, where the Knicks have to prove that they can beat certain teams, like your Bostons, like your OKC, like your Dallas, Milwaukee. These are teams that I think going into the postseason, it proves that the Knicks still have some work to do. But nonetheless, I'm happy what I've seen so far with this Knicks team. I'm proud of what I've seen. I was able to watch games and sit down and relax and watch games. And this is a nice break. Even though guys are getting healthy and we have injuries, I'm happy for this break for the Knicks. And I don't want to rush anybody to come back. I think guys should sit down as long as they should. And if that means we have to eat up some more losses, great. We'll be ready for the postseason. So I like it. I really like what I'm seeing so far from this Knicks. And I think the togetherness, I think a lot of people were pointing out the continuity, but for me, it was just more so this team coming together and finding their identity and who they are. Started with the front office. They made great decisions and they're not done. And I think it trickled with that trust you see with the guys with Tibbs. And, Tibbs, sometimes we still question him, leaving guys in too long in some games. Like sit Brunson down, sit Hartenstein down. Those guys are, they're looking a little banged up. They should be sitting down. We're winning a game, but that's neither here or there. But I think all in all, I like the direction that this team is moving in.
For sure. Do you think Randle, and this is for anybody before we get to Eb, Randle and Brunson being more trusting, do you think that has something to do with the type of players that we bought in? Or do you think that's just the evolution of their game and it would have happened anyway, whether we made the trades or not?
To me, it's a combination of both. I think it's the players that we brought in, guys who can actually knock down shots on a consistent basis, who trust their shots, who pick their right spots to make the shots. They're not necessarily making the tough baskets that you would see Randle or Brunson making, but I think that they know where they need to be on the floor. And I use a guy like Miles McBride as a great example. I think although he was going from the G League to the Knicks, I think he was really paying attention when he was on the bench of the Knicks. And he was following the game and figuring out, well, where does he need to be once he gets into the game? But I think that trust comes from, guys being able to, and then doing something with the ball, because there was times before where guys would get the pass and then they were going nowhere and they were passing it right back to Randle or Brunson. And they was playing this back and forth game. And then that's when Randle and Brunson would be like, well, you know what, let me just do something with it because you're not. So I'm going to have to do something with it. So I think having guys on the team who can constantly knock down shots and get to the basket, I think that builds the trust factor. And then guys making a smart decision when they get the ball allows for that trust.
I agree. Anybody else want to comment on that before we get to Ebony? No? All right. Ebony, your thoughts on the season up to this point, including the new additions, and if you have any tears for Grimes, you can shut them now.
Yeah, you already know I'm getting to there. I thought that we had a deep team before. I did. If we did it like a team that we can compete with anybody, I truly believe that. The assist numbers though weren't really up to par though. So maybe we didn't get to see it as much. And I think it was like you was mentioned before, I think it was kind of like a mixture of both, like Lady had said. We were trying to start incorporating more ball movement, more getting into transitions, things of that nature when RJ and IQ were still here. And then and it was like when we got OG, the defense made more transition and things of that nature, more movement. His defense, so you see it a lot more, and then you add some shooters around him, which OG is. And you see the floor space. But I like this team. I love this team now. Defense being our identity, I love that side of the ball. So when everybody can distribute on there and you don't have a lot of people you have to disguise, it helps. I love that we do a lot of the small things that other teams forget. We find multiple ways to score, whether it be offensive rebounding, whether it's turning our defense into offense. We can match up and throw different looks at anybody, which is why I love this, and especially when we're healthy. I actually love I watched Grimes. You can see the growth in him. To me, he's our best perimeter big. Like you put him on a perimeter, a big that can go to the rack. He's there. You've seen it with Jokic. How many turnovers did him and Precious
Grimes or OG?
I'm talking about Sims actually right now.
Oh, Sims. Okay.
Yeah, Sims. He our best perimeter big man. When it comes to holding, he can guard. I seen him stay in front of the guards. His feet be moving. So to see his growth and him not jumping at everything now, like you see growth in everybody. So like this is, I know injuries, we dread it, but this is what happens, and it prepares the others too for playoff moments. So I appreciate these moments so that their lights won't be too bright. We won't be Jared Allen Jr.'s out here talk about the lights are too bright. So yeah, I absolutely love this team. I got some worries now with the new additions. I felt that getting Burks back was kind of hustling backwards to me. I get Bogey, but the Burks part, like, okay, I got a lot of questions with that. I never liked point guard Burks. Shooting guard Burks was cool with me, but that point guard Burks, I did not like that guy. I'm starting to really, I'm giving him grace, but I'm tending over to not liking shooting guard Burks.
He's not in his role yet, though.
Yeah.
So
now, I don't know. His role
playing
was
out his role.
Somebody told me he was supposed to take the pressure off of Brunson, and I'm not. And when they're double teaming, he was supposed to have more than 13 points. I'm not seeing that. He actually took 2 shots that turnaround on the baseline thing twice, and it reminded me of the Patrick Ewing clip. Do you practice that shot? Do you practice that? I ain't never seen it. So I'm gonna give Burks grace, but he on borrowed time with me because in my head I'm like, Grimes could do this. Everything he do for me from that on is Grimes could have did this. And the fact of the matter is Grimes plays, hard on that other end too. So with these 2 new additions, I have some worries about how that bench defense will be because to me, I think McBride would be the biggest loser after the trade. I think once we're fully healthy, that he goes back situational. That's not what I want, but I see that he's struggling with the playmaking part of the game, the point guard duties of his shot is immaculate right now. He reminds me of IQ.
You gotta come one day and look through it.
Like how we asked IQ to help every once in a while. Like we asked him to add something every season, and he did. So we asked McBride to add shooting, and he did now, but we forgot the handle part and getting other people involved. We gotta be specific, I guess.
Right. Be specific in your prayers.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually love this team. I can't wait to see us healthy. My guys, Mitch, I would like to see what that looks like with him having somebody else that can hold their own the way OG, another defensive playmaker, as they like to say, on the squad. So I definitely would like to see what it looks like him being stationary and not having to just, erase a lot of mistakes and what that looks like for rebounding, that now he can just really stay there, box out, in case they need an extra bucket and things of that nature. But I like this team because, again, we've down a lot of people and it doesn't seem like that. You can't tell that by the score. We're not getting smacked by anybody. And we almost had those games, a couple of those games in this 4-game stretch, had it not been for a referee or a call or two. So if we had one big
or no call,
yeah, exactly. If we had just one big, we would have had or 1 or 2 of those games. So yeah, I'm loving this squad. I do love this squad. I'm just interested in seeing us full health, and if it changes our defense or not. Like our defensive identity, because we have to hide Burks and Bogey on that end.
Right.
But yeah,
do you
I'm
think
confident. Okay.
Good. Do you think that with Grimes could do what Burks is doing and McBride may be out of the rotation? Do you think part of the Knicks' decision making was just wanting to have more of a veteran presence in the playoffs with the decisions they've made with both of those guys?
Yeah, just somebody who's battle tested. Yeah, sure, but Burks don't act like a vet. He act like he's still in his 3rd year sometimes. He really do. Like he on his rookie contract. We could have got Bogey. Cool. I could have left Burks in Detroit. He's still in Detroit to me. If you see him coasting the way he coasts. But I think they win more games than I initially thought they would if we get healthy. Yeah, definitely.
Chris, your thoughts on the Knicks up to this point, including the new addition, and if you want to shed some tears over Grimes, this would be your opportunity.
I'm not gonna shed any tears over Grimes. Like we spoke about. I feel like with our picks, they help develop them and they put them in systems where they can grow. So I don't feel too bad about the situations because I feel like they were put in situations where they could become better players. or they could get longevity, because they got everything that they needed from Tibbs, which is he used to be one of the best coaches and stuff like that. But I feel like if not anybody that probably got a positive from it was Grimes and Quick. They elevated their game differently every year. They added something. RJ, I don't know, maybe he added something to it this year, but definitely I feel like they put them in positions to be successful. So I don't feel too bad about them, because we're going to see them in a year or two, and we're gonna be like, damn, we should have kept, So I'm not gonna shed any tears over that. As far as the team goes, I like where we are. I like what I see. I feel like the trades were actually someone really did their homework. Like Leon really did their homework to get guys that fit within Tibbs' system, that could come in and play within the system, where it didn't take them too long to get themselves acclimated to what was going on. So I definitely like that aspect of it. I didn't really get to see too much of OG, but when he came in, it was like he never was a part of the team. Like he started from the beginning. It felt like like he was down with us from preseason. The way he was playing. As far as Burks, I'm with you, Eb, on that one. I mean, I don't know what the decision making was. In my head, I'm saying that because he knows the system, Tibbs trust him. So maybe that was the reason for getting him. It had a bonus added. Maybe that's what it was. I don't like him in the point guard position too, because I feel like it takes away from his shot, because he's a spot up shooter. So he's the guy that you come down and you get double team, and he's in the corner, or he's on the baseline, and he open for that three. So with him bringing the ball up and he has to start the offense, a lot of times he gets those shots on the baseline where he turn around and just throw it up because he's out of his position. You know what I'm saying? So I get that. I told people a while ago, like I think when he first was a rookie, and I got his rookie card, that I thought Deuce was going to be a player. I thought he was going to be a point guard. I told Stephanie, I said, I won't be surprised if he's a point guard. And she was like, really? You think so? I said, I don't know. Give him a couple years, he'll be a starting point guard, but I see that he has stepped into that position. I don't know how much playing time he's going to get now with Burks in. So I really don't know if the growth is going to continue or he's going to go back to where he is. Hopefully they can find the balance. But, he's knocking down the shot. He's running the offense. He's playing the defense. I mean, he's been picking players up 90 feet. And I'm like, dang, he's starting playing defense a little longer. It's taking some of the minutes off the clock for them. So I don't know. Like, maybe he can transition, or maybe in a year he's probably going to be gone too. You never know with the Knicks. We don't really hold on to our picks. So hopefully with these picks that we have, either we get a player or we could pick someone that's pretty good that we can kind of hold on to. So I don't know. I'm looking for some good things. I'm really impressed with Sims too. He's been holding his own, He's definitely playing well. I just want to see everybody healthy. I want to see what this team looks like with everybody healthy. And I feel we need like maybe a couple games in before we play a Milwaukee or Denver or something like that. Have everybody together, maybe play 2 or 3 games or something like that. And then
I'm hoping for 10, Chris.
Okay, we can do 10.
I'm hoping for 10. We may not get it though.
But I'm saying I want to see them together long enough so I can see how we compete. Because I think with everybody coming back, the first 2-3 games, they're gonna be like kind of out of sync. But I feel like the more they kind of play together, if we get healthy, everybody healthy, and they play together for at least, you can say 10 games, the playoffs, it's going to be very interesting in the East.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let me read this super chat before I get to you, Pam. Shout out to Julian Blum, always supporting. I appreciate you, my brother. We need JR, Julius Randle, to play bully ball. Mm-hmm. And it's concerning that doctors had mixed feelings on surgery. Could this be Randle's decision because pressure of a trade in the offseason if he proceeds with surgery? I guess he's saying with surgery. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know Randle personally, but he comes across to me as a competitor, and I would be shocked if he doesn't want to come back and play this this season, because I think he would have had surgery already
Yeah.
if that's something he wanted to do. Let me know, Julian Blum, if I got that right. I may not have gotten what you were meaning right. Let me know. Pam, your thoughts on the Knicks up to this point?
I love the way they're coming together. I love the trades, even though Burke is that we got him, back. I was like, really? Okay, but the first game he played decent. I'm like, wait a minute, hold it. And then the true Burke showed up the next two. So I'm like, come on. But Tibbs loves him. Tibbs is gonna, put him in the position to play the game that he wants him to play, and he's gonna always do, Tibbs is always gonna do that. He's always gonna go to his people, the ones that he feel confident with. So, but I love the way, Brunson is controlling the whole squad. He's getting everybody involved. Nobody quits, because if he's not quitting, nobody quits. So if we down 2 or we up 2 or whatnot, we act like we playing like we down 10. So it's good. I love it. I can sit and watch a game and not go, God, doggone it. What the hell was that? So I'm loving it. I'm loving it. And I always said that what is it? McBride is just a shooting guard in a point guard body. So he just has to do what he needs to do to give the players a couple of minutes here, a couple of minutes there, Eventually, hopefully, if he works on his dribble and can go to the hole and then pass off, he'd be all right. Or, but he has that drop shot going into the middle and laying it over the tall people. So maybe if he keep following around Brunson, he'll get the moves, It was a footwork and everything. But I like it. I like it, and I didn't know what's the other one that we got from
Bojan.
what his name? But yeah, Bondage. Yeah. I didn't know that, he played pretty decent, he got his shots off and he played a little bit of defense. So we need just a couple of minutes to keep our I'm all right with it. But I do want them to get healthy and see how we can all work together for that one prize. And that's that championship. That's what I'm looking for.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Yeah, I'm super happy with where the Knicks are right now. Part of it is that starting unit when healthy. Statistically is one of the best in the league. By the eye test, they're one of the best in the league. And I'm encouraged by what I saw from Divo with some of these players being out. I already knew he could shoot, but just seeing him put the ball on the floor, seeing him create a little bit, seeing him bring the ball up a little bit when teams are double teaming. Brunson, gives me hope that maybe, just maybe, he hasn't reached his ceiling. Maybe he'll continue to grow, and maybe he can be our third option. I don't know. I do feel like in the playoffs, and we'll get to this a little later, a lot of the things that we're able to do in the regular season becomes harder, and you really do need to have somebody other than Brunson and Randle who can get you a bucket. And, can OG do that? Can Divo do that? We shall see. But I was encouraged by what I saw from Divo. I also think that, and I thought that the offense was clunky, not because it was the wrong offense, but because of the players we had. And I think once, Mitch went down, and we put Hartenstein in that start unit, We substituted Divo for Grimes, who's, not necessarily, well, he is a better shooter right now, but at the time, I just felt that he was more tested. He was more of a vet. You could see the ball flying around, and I think just the trust factor, as Lady in the Chef was talking about, I think part of it was the trust factor of Randle and Brunson trusting Divo with the ball, trusting Hartenstein with the ball, that even if he's not going to put up a three or his floater, that he's going to keep that offense moving and he's going to make the right pass. And I know a lot of us was like, oh, we want to see ball movement, but it's hard to see ball movement with Mitch and what was his name? Barrett in the lineup, because those guys they just not smooth offensive type players. But once we put Hart, and now you got 5 players similar to the New York Liberty. You have 5 players in that starting lineup who are an offensive threat. Now you're going to get the motion. Now you're going to get teams, players trusting each other, passing the ball around, making teams work, right? Because everybody on that team can shoot and facilitate the offense. So that's something that stood out for me, is just how that offense, when that starting unit is healthy, how great that it looks. And I'm super excited about the new additions. Listen, I think Grimes is going to have a really good career in the NBA. I think he's going to be a really good player. And I think what we're seeing for Grimes so far is where he should be as a third-year player, right? I just think that the Knicks changed the team so fast and changed our direction so fast that, in my opinion, he just didn't fit. In my opinion, I just felt like we needed more of a veteran team. And we was counting on him. It's not like now McBride, who's the 10th person. Whatever McBride gives us is gravy, in my opinion. We're not counting on him, whereas before these trades, we was counting on McBride. We was counting on Grimes in that second unit, because Hart is not a shooter or a scorer, So we were counting on those two. And I think that's a tough spot to put young players in if you're trying to go far.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're developing them and if you get to the second round or the third round, that's great. It doesn't matter. Fine. Put them in there. Let them rock. But if you're talking about getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, you're talking about getting to the finals, in my opinion, you can't put that much pressure on those two guys to lead your bench. So that's why I like the trade. Now, everybody complaining about Burks. He ain't that much different than IQ, in my opinion. Same thing. Going in there, dribble, looking for his shot. Now, IQ may have taken better shots, but he wasn't somebody, in my opinion, that was looking to set up the team either. I thought
that was contract IQ you thinking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, but this is a contract. This is a contract year. So what I'm saying is, in terms of how he was playing this year, that balance we saw with IQ last year, when should I shoot? When should I set up the team? He had a really good balance. This year, that balance wasn't there. So this is what we're getting from Burks, right now. And I think the Knicks didn't want to give up assets and I think this is may come back to bite us in the butt. Didn't want to give up assets to bring in a backup point guard that's only going to play 10 minutes a game behind Brunson, who's playing about 38 in the playoffs. So they was looking for somebody who could play behind Burks and Divo, can play, both positions. And I think they might have been able, maybe they didn't think they can find a better combo guard to play both positions. But I think that can very well bite us in the butt, not having somebody to run that team in what I'm calling the non-Brunson minutes, because it don't take that long in the playoffs for an 8-point lead to evaporate.
Yeah,
That's
12-point lead. Don't matter.
I don't think they're looking for somebody on the buyout market. So I think this is going to Yeah,
Be who we are.
yeah. I think this is going to be it. And I like our chances, but when things slow down in the playoffs and you scrounging for everything you can get, it would help to have a veteran backup on the
Quick,
bench.
I would just say about with the playoffs and this the new squad. Well, I don't know with the bench squad. The one thing I could say with Grimes and McBride was there. It was we won a lot of games because our defense was so stingy. You know, there was not like you can go from the defense of our starting unit and then come to the Grimes, Precious, and McBride, and they were shutting things down. So we got a lot of ugly wins off of our, just our defense in itself being
Right.
stingy. You need things of that nature for the playoffs. So that's why I'm a little worried because now it's just like we're trying with the additions of Bogey and Burks. It kind of seems like we're trying to outshoot people now instead of defend them more. You get saying like more
Yeah.
so to our identity.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, listen. You can. First of all, I don't think Burks is a cone. He may not be the defender of a Grimes, but I don't think he's a cone. So I think if you have DiVincenzo in there with Burks and Hart and Mitch, if Mitch is back and you having Bo Young at the 4, I think we're gonna be fine. Listen. Yes, I think you do need to be able to get stops in the playoffs. And yes, you need to be able to play really good defense, but you better be able to put the ball in the hole.
That's
because
right.
we 3 years ago, whenever it was, when we played Atlanta, we was the 5th ranked defense. We could not score. We went home. Against Miami, we had if I'm not mistaken, we had the second best defense in the playoffs up to that point. We could not get timely baskets, and we lost. So, yeah, I think we need both. We need both. But you better have enough people that can put the ball in the basket because the intensity of the playoffs, and I always say this, the intensity of the playoff knocks out 2-3 players that you was counting on. It's just going to take out maybe 1 or 2 because we're more of a veteran team now. But the intensity of the playoffs, you usually find 1 or 2 players who just not giving you what they gave you in the regular season. And you got to have other players that can, that can step up. But I agree, Ebony. Tibbs is going to have to, put a lineup in there with Bojan, that's, defensive minded. But also keep in mind that they're going against a second string defense themselves. They're going against a second string defense.
But that's why again, I know he's gone, but this is why I had liked that unit when it was here. I was like, okay, maybe we could get a good look at this until off season. That's what they was talking about. They weren't going to move, and then next thing you know, he was moved. But
could they score though? Because Burks is not scoring for you. McBride is hitting his shots now. Will he? Do you want to take the chance that he's going to continue to hit that in the playoffs? In a tougher situation. Listen, McBride is playing well. McBride is playing like under 20 minutes a game, and this is the first season in which he's been in the rotation. You know what I mean? I just feel like don't put him in that position. I'm not saying he won't shine. He very well could. I just think that's a tough position to put somebody who's just gotten into the rotation. You're going to be the backup point guard on this championship aspiring team. I understand a lot.
With the bench, what I was saying, because you know how with other star heavy teams, how they stagger minutes. I thought that was cool that when they stagger the minutes, that we still had defenders of the McBride and Grimes in that the thing. So that looks a little different when with like I said. So that's just my worries. That's the only worries I have about the trade. Other than that, I see the vision, because if you add shooters, there isn't anybody that can guard Jalen Brunson one-on-one. There isn't anybody that can guard bully ball Julius Randle one-on-one. So if you put the shooters around, you force them to have to guard one-on-one.
Yeah.
So I get it, but it's 2 sides of the court, and I always mention that other side.
Defense.
I mean, listen, if the defense get raggedy, you take them out and you put the starters, back in. It's just as simple as that. If Bojan is getting busted up, you take him out and you put in Precious Achiuwa, who is a really good perimeter defender. So the Knicks have options. They're not like stuck, if Bojan is not playing defense and they're taking advantage of him, take him out.
Burks better get his butt out of Detroit. That's what I'll do.
And Burks too. You can take him out as well.
You not in Detroit no more, Burks.
And it's possible that Tibbs runs Divo with that second unit. And Divo handles the ball and Burks plays off the ball. I mean, until we get our full complement of players, it's going to be hard to know.
What's what?
Yeah.
I appreciate the jump from Dante, though. I do. I
Yeah.
appreciate Steph. That's my favorite player. I appreciate him for teaching Dante some stuff.
Mhm.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. Yeah. He was my pick for, who was the player who was going to take the leap this season. It was Divo. I didn't think he had reached his ceiling. But who will surprise you? Who do you think will surprise you the most going down the stretch of the regular season? We'll ask the same question when we get to the playoff segment. And by surprise, I mean significantly raise their level of play to the point where it makes a big difference down the stretch. We'll go the other way. Pam, Chris, and Lady and the Chef, and then we'll mix it up.
Repeat that.
Which player do you think will surprise you the most going for the rest of the 27 games?
Let's see.
Who's going to take a step up going down the stretch, given our injuries?
Well, Precious has done it, because I thought he was going to be oh my goodness. I think he's going to step up. And I think Bodie, just because we got him later on and now once you get into the system and saying that this is how we play, I think that's going to take a lot of stress off of him, and he's going to loosen up and he's going to play better too. So for a few minutes. So that's cool too. But Precious and Boji, I think that both of them will probably succeed.
Okay. All right, Chris.
I agree. I think Bogey is probably going to surprise us. But I also think, shout out, you didn't say player, but I think Tibbs might surprise us too. Like, I feel like he got enough that he might do something out of the norm. I don't know. He got a different team now. So I want to see what he's going to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't say before we only had Randle, we only had this person. Now you got a legit, 8 people that could kind of score consistently. So I want to see what you're going to do with this team. You know what I'm saying? I really want to see what you're going to do, because now that time when you're going to leave this person in, now you can bring this person out. You don't have to really keep Randle and Brunson in that longer time, because you got the pieces to kind of give them.
You talking about in the regular season or the playoffs?
I'm talking about the regular season.
The regular season, okay.
I'm talking about the regular season. So at some point, we're going to have to start pulling back some minutes for Brunson so that he can be okay for the playoffs. Like, he's playing how many minutes tonight? Like, can he consistently do this and give us, time in the playoffs? Somewhere you have to show that you're going to try to find him some ref. If we can do it, I don't really know if we don't get everybody back, but I just want to see what Tibbs is going to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have enough people now that you can run some different offenses and play around with some stuff. I don't know, as far as giving Randle and Brunson some minutes on the
Randle. If Randle comes back and he's healthy, he don't need no rest.
He rested. But I'm saying Brunson.
Right. Yeah. No, that's why I feel like we should have brought in anyway.
Yeah, I do too. But I just feel like, I guess he feel like he got people he could trust, so he might can give him a little more than 5 minutes a game. I don't know, 10 minutes a game.
But you know what?
We'll see.
Well, listen. Look, if you look at the advanced stats, the Knicks do not play well when Brunson is off the floor.
I know.
And so, yeah. And so,
but it's not with the whole team, but that's just with the people that he was healthy with.
Now,
that's the whole team.
All right.
We are. And so what I'll ask the fans is, are we okay losing games and losing playoff seeding? And that's fine. Like for me, as long as we finish in the top 6, I'm okay. But we can't have it both ways where we want to rest Brunson and we want to win. Because in those non-Brunson minutes, the Knicks are not good. We're just not.
You would hope that you can rest them with these pieces, but you know, I
because-
definitely get it.
Yeah,
But I
from
definitely
the
still
night.
want to see. I definitely still want to see where his coaching is going to be at. You know what I'm saying?
we're gonna have a whole segment on Thibodeau.
Yeah.
It stems from the
No
lack of playmaking. That's what it was. We saw a lineup of Deuce, Alec Burke, I think it was Precious, Jacob, and somebody else. I can't remember who else it was. It was no ball movement. It was no creation. It was straight 1-on-1. Your turn, my turn. Nobody turn. We wasn't scoring.
Yeah, no doubt. Eb, who you think gonna surprise? Who do you think will surprise going down the stretch these last 27 games? Raise their level of play a little bit until OG and Randle get back.
I'm cheating, but Precious was already mentioned. Precious is already mentioned, so I can.
What?
Yeah, Precious. I was calling him Ash Chua for one. So, but
Me too.
he
Ash
made me a believer. He made me a believer. His hustle effort. And I was also bamboozled because the Toronto fans told me he was trash. You know,
Correct.
They absolutely trashed this man, saying he couldn't do it. His IQ was terrible. Blah blah blah. He was a bum, and that's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing straight
In their
hustle.
system, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
Probably, you know.
Yeah, because that his perimeter defense gives us something extra. You know, like we put OG on the Tatums and things of that nature, the Siakams, and he can also guard those type of players. You know, so that gives us another look. Just having another person like him, I definitely think he was surprised. But I had another one because I didn't know. I think McBride. I think he gets more comfortable in his role. I think he's a student of the game, and that he elevates as the season goes on. He definitely contributes on the other end because he does make his impact every time he's in the game on that end. He'll do, well, not every time because he had a game, and I'm like, where McBride defense go? But other than that, it was just one game. I think he elevates, and I hope Josh Hart too. But other than that, cool. That's a hope. I hope.
We're gonna need it. Remember, we were still winning games without Randle and OG, but we had iHeart, we had Divo. You know what I mean? But once it is only but so much you can hold together. Then you without Divo, it was just too much. Lady in the chef, who do you think is gonna step up before down the stretch until OG and Randle gets back?
I think it's a combination of a few of the guys that were mentioned. I think it's McBride. I think that I'm looking at it from a standpoint of these are players that I think need to step up. Tibbs is big on that next man up. And I think in order for the Knicks to finish off the season strong, because my thing is, I know you just mentioned 6 seeding in the East, which I agree. I think if the Knicks finish anywhere 7th or 8th, it's a little bit concerning and makes it a little harder for them entering in the postseason. But if the Knicks could stay within that 4th seed, maybe 5th, I would be happy with that. But I think it's guys like McBride, it's Josh Hart, it's Precious Achiuwa, and it's both Burks and Bojan who need to step up and give Brunson some help. And I think especially, I agree with Ebony and BxChris with Burks. Burks is that player who I feel the Knicks brought, kind of like Taj Gibson. And I'm still wondering why, out of all the many, many players, the many of players that play in the NBA, they play internationally, why the Knicks settled. I thought we've gone past that and we've come a long way. And the Knicks front office has come a long way. But I guess when desperate times and desperate measures come, this is what it resorts to. I'm not happy with Taj Gibson being on the bench. When I was at the Utah game, the crowd was cheering for him to come in. I didn't think it was funny, actually. Like, me and Divo were looking at each other like, what the hell is so funny? And then, it was like a big running joke in there. And they were like, put Todd, New Yorkers make a chant about everything. That became a chant. And they wanted to, and Tibbs was looking at the crowd
New
like,
York City born. That's why New York City born. You gotta vote for him. That's what that
Brooklyn's
was.
in the house.
They
listen,
see him run across Brooklyn Bridge. That's
where I was going to say, stay right there on that bridge. Because I'm with Queen. When he gets in, my eyes roll real hard.
Yeah. It's
I
like,
don't want to see it.
I don't believe
two times down, he's winded. If you
Right.
watch him, he's grabbing his shorts. He's like looking at Tibbs. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
Tibbs pays him no mind.
Yeah, he's struggling out there. But I think those guys that I mentioned, they have to step up and find that chemistry with this unit. And unfortunately, it's going to be very hard to sit Jalen Brunson. I think some games we're going to have to just bite the bullet and sit him down. So that way we have him rested for the postseason. But I think that this group who we have now, they have to figure out how to pull out some wins together. You can't use the excuse that you have a man down situation and you have your core guys out. And that's the case right now. I understand that. But I think that at the end of the day, you're still getting paid, professionally. You're on a team. We're expecting you to do a job. It's not going to be easy, but I think this core group of guys that are on this floor right now, are part of the roster, the main guys that's going to be out there, Hart, McBride, Burks, they're going to have to figure out how to find that chemistry with Jalen Brunson and pull out some wins because, I think with 27 games left, and if you got a couple of toughies within these 27 games, we start off tomorrow against Philly. You have a few against Boston. You have a few runs against some really great teams in the league, and tougher opponents in the leagues rather. But I think the Knicks have to figure out how to win with who we have now. And I'm not worried about getting back the guys who are injured right away, including Dante DiVincenzo and Isaiah Hartenstein. I'd rather them continue to keep resting. But the guys who are still left, they have to figure out how to step up. And those are the guys that I'm looking forward to make that impact and step up with the remaining 27 games left of the season.
I think that's a tall task. If without DiVincenzo, I think with DiVincenzo, with iHeart, we did it, right? Because we were still winning without Randle and OG. But then you're gonna take away two more.
Yeah.
I think that's a hard task because now you're asking guys to come outside of their role, like you said, to step up. And some days you're gonna get it, and some days you're not. That's just not. They not that guy, because that's what Randle and Brunson allow you to do. They allow you to just play off of them, get what you get off of them. Whereas when they're out now, and Divo showed that he can do that, right? When Brunson was out, he stepped up with 2 30-point games, which I know Brunson was out winning. I'm not sure if Brunson was out both of those games. He scored 30, but he showed that, when somebody is down, I actually do have another level. I don't know how many other players on the Knicks have another level, but we shall see because, Bojan, he's a vet. He's a 20-point scorer in this league. Maybe he does have maybe he does have another level.
He surprised me with some of the stuff. He definitely surprised me. He has a sneaky ability to get to the basket. He's not blowing by anybody, but he gets there.
No, he can play. Bojan is bona fide. He's bona fide.
Sometimes with players, it's the system too. You know what I'm saying? Like what the system is asking you to do. And if you have a system where you predominantly just spotting up somewhere and shooting, then you are. But like if you have one that you don't know what you're doing today or what you're doing tomorrow, but Tibbs their system is the same. It hasn't changed. So you can either create off the dribble or you can spot up on the wings and get the ball past you and shoot. So I mean, I want to see what he does. I mean, so far he got my vote.
Right. I mean, it's a read and react offense.
Yeah.
So the offense is going to look different depending on the players you have. So
I have a question. I wanted to ask you guys. We were talking about the bench and how we probably wouldn't have got Burks or added something else on that bench, right? I had said Malcolm Brogdon, but I'm glad we didn't because he fooled me. I'm like, all right, he healthy now. Like maybe those days of him being injury prone is over. He played all these games, and then right after trade deadline, he gets injured. So my thing is, do you think they didn't go after because that was a point guard that we had interest in?
Mhm.
Do you think we didn't go after him because he's a Lego? That's what I call people that break apart all the time. They Lego. Yeah.
Mhm.
You think that's why we didn't go after him? Because maybe it's too many Legos on that list. They didn't want to take take the chance on trading
I
for
have my
another
theory,
person.
but I'll let you guys go first. Pam, you have any thoughts on that?
Probably so. With Tibbs and everything, he wanted to get somebody that knew his system, which is Burks, and then Manja he can shoot. So 2 for one person, I think that's what he thought. It was better to do that, and he only gave up Grimes and what was it? And
Grimes,
somebody
Fournier, and I think 2 seconds, I want to
for
say.
And
two
Evan too.
2 sevens and Flynn, the kid.
Oh, Flynn.
So
they did one.
yeah, but they weren't playing, and then you got the $18 million man off there. At least them two are gonna play it at least. So
Right.
you
Right.
know, so I think that 2 for whatever it is fine. I
Right.
think that's what they did. And of course the other guy, he's always hurt. So who knows? Just because he's doing well now don't mean anything, you
We've
know.
had our share of players come to
Yes, come here and just break down, no, thank you. We cool.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
get
funny.
with it.
It's funny you said that because when we traded, and OG got hurt, right? And then like Bogey, like later on got hurt. I text KOT in KOT's chat. Did we trade for Legos?
Yeah.
Like, did we get
Damaged goods.
a bunch of Legos? Like
Well,
that's. I'm
you,
like,
you got you got to think, Bogey wouldn't have got hurt if he didn't have to play so much. He was there for this 10 minutes. He pushed himself and he strained something. But hey, if we had got somebody else, they might have been injured quite fast,
Yeah.
To me, I think part of Burks was, to Pam's point, he knows the system. Tibbs believes he can play 1 or 2. Like I said earlier, they didn't want to give up assets just for somebody to play 10 minutes, so they wanted somebody
Right.
versatile. But I also think why they didn't go after Brogdon or any other point guard is the Knicks are still. I don't know if I want to say the Knicks are not all in this season. The Knicks are still trying to stay flexible, trying to keep their picks to make another trade.
Yeah.
I don't think the Knicks wanted to go all in this season by going and getting another all-star type player or to use assets on a bona fide backup point guard. I think the Knicks front office, if I had to guess, because they don't talk, they're saying, okay, this team looks pretty good. We're gonna get you some reinforcements. Let's see where they go. Let's see where this team goes.
Mhm.
But we're gonna make the big moves
Mhm.
in the off season. So I think that had a lot to do with it. Bojan and Burks were cheap in
Mhm.
terms of what they gave up. I think that was a part of it, part of the equation as well. And then now you have, instead of Fournier expiring, which it seems like they couldn't get anybody to take, you have Bojan's expiring. And even though he's 34 years old, maybe he has, or they're banking on him having more value than Fournier had.
I think
So
he will because he's playing more. He'll
Yeah,
play more.
He's playing at all, period. I think the flexibility and all of that had something to do with why they didn't go after Bojan.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to questions about the playoffs. Anything else in terms of what we've discussed so far?
Before we go to the playoffs, Healthy Mitch returns. He's starting, or we keeping iHeart?
Ooh,
Come on, let's talk.
Me Me personally, he gotta come off the bench.
Okay.
He gotta come off the bench because iHeart gives us more movement in our game. You know,
Yeah. And the defense is not a significant drop. It is a drop,
right?
but it's not
It's a drill,
significant.
but it's not. Yeah.
Okay. One more question. No,
I'm sure Ebony wants to take the
Oh.
floor.
Oh yeah, you know, that's the president. Can't skip the president.
Oh, you taking your job, man.
Yeah, I had to. You know, my man Mitch get a lot of flack in these streets. So, but I think he has to come off the bench. I think he's coming off a major injury. You want him to work his way back into just the flow of the game. Period. So it would be best if we did have him coming off the bench. Now next season, no, we gonna see.
We will see. Yeah.
That's it. Throw the ball out and see who wins. That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he has to come off the bench.
Okay. Lady in the chef.
I mean, you already know. I rock with Isaiah Hartenstein, and he's impressed me. So I agree with Pam and Ev. I think that Mitch should. I also think because Mitch is not going to be coming back at 100% like Randle at the start of the season, because when you come from an injury, you're worried about tweaking it again. So you have a somewhat of a slow start, you know, and I think Mitch will probably be at like a 75, 80% on the court in real time. It's one thing right now. I know after All-Star break, they said Mitch would be on limited minutes as far as conditioning, with running, biking, and things like that. But I think once you get in real time game situations, it's a different ball game. And also just, you know, Mitch came back with great conditioning and stamina this season. So I want to see, is he able to still maintain that in the postseason when he comes back? But nonetheless, when he comes back, he's going to be a huge addition back to this team, as Isaiah Hartenstein and him piggybacking off of each other is going to be needed. But I think Mitch should come off the bench, come on that second unit, which is he's going to be needed in that second unit because they don't really have the height for someone to be able to be that defensive presence in the paint, you know, and challenging guys who think they could just come in the paint and dunk and do floaters on the team. So I think that, yeah, he should come off the bench.
Yeah. I don't get the whole Mitch Hartenstein argument at all. You know, respectfully. I just think Isaiah Hartenstein is a more complete player than Mitchell Robinson. He plays both sides of the court, not just one side. And it's not a significant drop defensively. Now, we're talking about Mitch's all-world defense. Isaiah Hartenstein is all-world offense, but doesn't play any defense. Yeah, I definitely can get that. Like, you can't be a sieve, you know what I mean, on defense. But when you have somebody who's with our offense runs much better when Isaiah Hartenstein is in there with the starting unit than Mitch. And I'm guessing because Mitch hasn't played with this starting unit, but just having somebody in that starting unit who can't really, because this is the thing with Mitch. It's not just that he doesn't shoot. He doesn't move the ball. Like it's like his offensive IQ is not there. Other than a dribble handoff, he's not somebody, in my opinion, that's gonna, you know, hit somebody backdoor, hit somebody in the somebody open on the 3-point line. I just feel like offensively, he's just not. This is besides his ability to shoot. I just don't feel like the offense works as well when he's in there. And so when I'm thinking about who starts, I'm thinking about who's best for the team. Which team functions the best, right? And I think Isaiah Hartenstein with that starting unit, particularly to Wayne Peterson's point, Mitch, we needed Mitch when we did not have perimeter defenders. Who else? You needed. Now you have perimeter defenders. I don't think having rim protection at that elite level is as necessary, and particularly not at the expense of your offense.
Mhm.
You know, given that we have Divo and we have OG, you know, on the wing. And I'm talking about from a team perspective. I'm not talking about Mitch being from a team perspective. You're getting what you need on offense for iHeart, and you're getting what you need on defense from iHeart. And I'm gonna get to you, Eb. And the Knicks were number 1 in defense when that starting unit was healthy.
That's right.
So what we gonna do? We gonna be 1 squared with, you know what I mean? That starting unit was already number 1 in defense. It's not like we were 8 and Mitch is gonna bring us to 1. We were first.
Yep.
So so to me, I don't really get it. But if Mitch can come back and solidify that second unit and make Bojan playable, right? Because he can definitely help make Bojan playable. You know, I'm all for it. Go ahead.
Yep.
Ed.
I think Mitch, what he does, gets overlooked a lot. I really do. He was.
Ed, you say that all the time
because it's the
we
truth.
appreciate Mitch.
No, not saying the stuff that you do. No.
Hold up. So we don't appreciate Mitch because we calling out his lack of offense. I appreciate what Mitch does on the defensive end. He is an elite defender. I'm not, and he was on his way to being maybe defensive player of the year, maybe on the defensive team. But it's not just you. People in the chat do this as well. If you don't want to start Mitch, you a hater. Or if you don't want to start Mitch, you don't appreciate what he does. No, I appreciate what he does, but I'm going to take somebody who's going to give me some offense, whose defense may be a little less. There is no level Mitch can play at that can overcome his lack of offense.
I just want to say, I get what you're saying, but again, we talk about systems, and again, we just allow iHeart to put the ball in iHeart's hand. Tibbs just did that. He just said, "I'm allow you to be more playmaking involved." He just did that, right? And to say that what Mitch can't do, and he never got a chance. One thing Mitch does is he moves. One thing on both sides, he runs the court. They're giving alleys now. They're hitting that dunker spot. That's how Precious is eating. Is that not how Precious is eating off the little scoop pass for the dunker spot? We're hitting that. It's more spacing now. There's not RJ and Josh Hart in him now. There's a bunch of shooters, so that helps. Mitch sets great picks. He's been setting great picks, which is why IQ was up there. IQ was legitly up there for points off the pick because he was getting them free. He was freeing people up. Y'all talk about offense things. I'm not saying that you don't appreciate because y'all don't like Mitch. I get it. We don't know. We have not seen any offense. We don't know what that looks like. I get it. But we didn't know that Jericho Sims had a passing in his game either. He hit people with back doors. I just don't like to put people in
one
boxes.
time.
Now it was a couple times. He did it a couple times. He definitely did it a couple times.
Yeah.
But we didn't know he had that in him, though, is what I'm saying. I didn't know he
been in the league 6 years. We already know what it is.
Exactly. I think what Steph is saying though is that you have to be realistic, Ebony. And when it comes
I am being realistic. What I'm saying is that we don't know what he can do with this squad. That's just realistic.
Well,
they're hitting people with dunks. Right. They're hitting people with alleys. What does that look like with Mitch? They tried to do that with iHeart, and he couldn't jump over the paper bag recently, right before he got injured. What does that look like with Mitch? That's all I'm saying. What does it look like when your big runs the floor and you get it to him on that lob? Because Mitch definitely runs the floor. It's a lot of things we didn't get to see, and we just say he can't do it, but we never seen it. And then also about the floor. Because when he gets offensive rebounds, he always finds the open shooters. Am I not correctly? Do he not hit the open shooters off the offensive rebounds? Does he not get the other people easier shots? That's playmaking. That is playmaking. So this is what I'm saying.
It's not to the level of what we're talking about. That
I get it, but to say he don't do it at all, that's what I'm saying. To say he can't do it at all.
Level. It's like Walmart and you have Amazon.
I'm gonna stop talking about it. I'm gonna let Mitch speak for himself. That's it.
And he's injury prone. I'm not putting and he's injury prone. But I hear what you're saying. But my point is, I hear what you're saying. Mitch can do a little more. He can run the floor. We can get points from him in the dunker spot. I get it. I get it. But I hear what you're saying. But my point is, I hear what you're saying. Mitch can do a little more. He can run the floor. We can get points from him in the dunker spot. I get it. I get it. But what I'm
That's
saying
where
is,
iHeart is at. He got that little float game. He's not shooting out. He's not bringing
get it.
defenses out because he's not shooting a 3-pointer. He's not
get it.
shooting from the mid range.
I
It's
get
still in the paint.
I get it, but you got to respect him. You're not leaving iHeart to come out and double anybody or crowd anybody. You still got to stay with him. You don't have to stay with Mitch. But my point is, if you have a top 5 offense and you have a top 5 defense, why change it?
I'm not trying to change it, but
that's
that's
what I'm saying.
I didn't say. I said this year, but next year,
even next year, why change it? If
I'm
you
gonna let Mitch speak for itself. That's all I'm gonna say.
We're gonna see. We're gonna see because Mitch has been speaking for 6 years, and he's saying the same damn thing. He's been speaking for 6 years.
It's not the same roster, though. It's not the same roster. It's not the same point guard. Brunson's still learning how to get others and himself together. He's doing better now this year. He's found a great balance this year. What does that look like when he's hitting off of a lob threat? Actually, Trae Young does that perfectly. Like I hate the dirty lollipop. I don't like him, but he does get his bigs involved.
Right, exactly. But that's the thing with Mitch. You have to get him in. Like you ain't getting nothing from Mitch unless somebody give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. I mean, listen, I appreciate Mitch. I think that's the rhetoric I want to, just push back against. And it's not just you, it's people in the chat that because you want to start iHeart or because you want a more complete player at the center position, somehow you don't appreciate what Mitch does on the defensive end. And I just think it's not true. And plus he's injury prone. And I think the Knicks have to also think about, how much you want to keep. If you're going to give iHeart away and keep Mitch for somebody who you don't even know how many games he's going to play per year. And this is a long term.
iHeart going to play right now either.
Right, but iHeart is an Iron Man compared to Mitchell Robinson. When we look throughout their career, he's an Iron Man compared to Mitchell Robinson. We shall see. We shall see. Who we talked about this earlier. Who surprised you the most in the down the stretch of the regular season? Who do you think is going to surprise you the most in the playoffs? We're going to do Pam, Ebony, Chris, Lady in the Chef.
Well, I don't know if they're going to surprise me the most, but I really want Divo to surprise me the most. Him, and I want Josh to get back to when we first saw him. I know he's having knee problems, but he just, oh my goodness, the energy that he brought off the bench last year, I see it here and there and here and there. I want that Josh back. I want him back. All right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you think Josh
and Divo.
Okay. Will surprise the most in the playoffs. All right, Eb.
Who I want to surprise the most in the playoffs?
That's what I said.
Will surprise the most?
I want Randle to surprise us in the playoffs.
Okay.
I'm like, who do I want? Like I was gonna go McBride, but I need Randle to surprise me in the playoffs. I need Randle to surprise me in this playoffs. Please, Randle, show up in these playoffs. Pretty please. And I get he's going to be working his way back, maybe in those, who knows, in those times. But with Randle, more so just his presence, using his presence as an offense when he gets back and playing just smart ball, not feeding into, sometimes he does his ego ball, the hero ball. Just play team basketball, and I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah, I'm going with Randle too. I think he got something to prove,
That's true.
And I think I think if his shoulder is okay, I think he gonna definitely try to show that the regular season that he was playing up to this point where he got hurt wasn't a fluke. So I'm thinking he's gonna try to come and show out. I want him to do good. So I think Randle.
Yeah, I think for me, I think Randle, I agree. I think Randle has something to prove because, you know, I know Diva Locks had mentioned this a few episodes ago, and one of the things she was saying was she said, I think if Randle doesn't perform this postseason, the Knicks are going to look to make a major move, and that may involve him. She said, because at the rate that they're moving, at nothing could be put past us. We don't know what's the ins and out and what's going on behind the scenes. We're just content creators. But I think with the Knicks having this pressure to become a playoff bound, a known team to make the playoffs every season. And I said that before, the Knicks have to become known as a team who makes the playoffs. And then they have to be known as a team who they're they're trying to get to that championship level. And I know Steph, you was bringing this up how there's teams like Boston who they're known to make the playoffs. They're a championship caliber made up team, but they have yet to win one yet. And it took the same thing for Denver. But I think right now the Knicks have to focus on becoming a playoff team, and that's something that they get to every year and not just the first round or maybe a second round. And even I think this season, the Knicks as a whole have to really prove that they can get past the second round. We know you can get to the second round, but can you get past that? So I think Randle, as critical as he is to this team, he's one of the main guys who we don't need to shy away. And I think that's for everybody. And to be honest, minus I'm gonna say Jalen Brunson, because we know he has one of the most experience besides Dante DiVincenzo making it to the postseason, and he knows what it takes. But I think overall, because last season, you know, IQ got we couldn't find him in the postseason. So I don't want to see guys like, you know, Josh Hart or McBride, OG, where we're looking for them in the postseason. I think collectively as a whole, everybody has to be ready because, like you said, the playoffs is a different animal.
Right.
The intensity steps up.
Right.
And sure, you could have Randle doing his thing and Brunson doing their thing, but I think if you have other players who we're looking for them, and now we're just relying on the two main guys, we're going to be in trouble. We're going to be in a lot of trouble. And I think the Knicks, it's just so important that they come out with that high energy, that first round, the same way they did against Cleveland, you know. And I think it's important the way the Knicks start the games, and the games, but also how they start off their third quarters, because sometimes the Knicks come out a little too lax in third quarters. But the biggest guy I think I'm really looking forward to, who I think is going to help set the tone for other players besides Jalen Brunson, is Julius Randle. I think his mental and the physical play on the floor.
Right. I think Divo is going to surprise for us. I think he's going to take his game to another level. And I agree with everybody that Randle needs to. I just think I'm penciling Randle in, that if he's healthy, this is going to be the year in which he shines in the playoffs. And, you know, to your point, Lady and the Chef, everybody plays off each other. So if Randle and Brunson is playing well, that allows the other guys to be in their role. If those other guys are playing well, then that gives Randle and JB the room to operate, because defenses can't key on them. They have to pick their poison. You're gonna let these shooters shoot, or you're gonna pack it into the paint. You're gonna have to choose. And if guys aren't shooting their shots, then they can pack it in the paint. I just think Divo, how he's taken a leap this year, I think it's going to continue in the playoffs. And I think if he's shooting well, that bodes well for the space that Randle and Jalen Brunson need. So to kind of piggyback off of this question, who or what, if anything, are you most concerned about going into the playoffs? And I'll give some examples, but this is not a full list. Is it a player? Is it Tibbs? Is it the bench? Is it the shooting? Is it the late game execution? Is it the non-Brunson minutes? Is it something else? Like, who or what are you most concerned about going into the playoffs? Lady in the Chef, we'll start with you, then we'll go to Chris, Eb, and end up with Pam.
I think if the Knicks defense isn't on par, I think if the perimeter defense isn't there and we're not guarding that 3-point line, that's going to hurt us. I think if they're not being aggressive, grabbing rebounds, that's going to hurt us. And I think if you don't have those weapons like DiVincenzo, OG Anunoby, Bojan, if those guys are not helping out with the shooting to be those secret weapons that we can have that can give us that extra push, I think that's going to be a little concerning also in games where, they're getting the touches, they're getting the shots up, but they're brick like we saw RJ Barrett do. And I think if we see that, then that's going to have me a little concerned. I'm not going to get in a frenzy if it happens one game, but if it's happening too many games in a series, then yeah, I'm going to be, I'm gonna be, stressed out. So I think the main thing though is the defense, because we know what the Knicks could do offensively, and the Knicks proved that they have come such a long way. Like you said, they were number one defensively and became a really great defensive team. But I think that defensive effort has to be there on a consistent basis. So if the Knicks are not locked in defensively, I think that's going to be, it's going to hurt them as a team. We see what happens with the Knicks when they're not locked in defensively. I mean, teams just take advantage. And I saw Knicks 100, a GM said, what are we watching? And that the Knicks do play great defense in the third quarters. Actually, no, I watch all the Knicks games. There's been several Knicks games where the Knicks have come out in the third quarter very lax. It's like they still want a couple of more minutes to catch their breath. And now the team all of a sudden cuts into that 20-point lead. And now the Knicks have to scrape. And now we're playing back and forth game in the fourth quarter. And we're hoping that the Knicks will beat a team like Detroit, who they should have been up against. So we've seen this happen plenty of times before throughout the season. But for me, it's definitely the defense. And then if you don't have those guys who are good shooters on a team, who are not able to knock down their shots on a more than one consistent game in a series, that's concerning.
Okay. Chris?
The non-Brunson minutes for me. And also the health of the team, like everybody being healthy. Those things are key, because when Brunson is not in the game, I know we want to give him rest. It's really hard to score, so people have to definitely step up. And I want to see who's going to step up in those spaces to really prove that they ready for the playoffs. They ready, they locked in and everything. So that's definitely one. And also the health, like we got people coming back. Randle with the shoulder. You got Aha with the Achilles, and so I just want to see in OG with the elbow. So I just want to see if they're gonna be able to play through them, if they come back, like play through, not playing for a while and stuff like that. So I definitely want to see how that's gonna work out. Yeah.
Okay. Eb. Now, by the way, everybody see the QR code in the top right. That's for you to buy me a cup of coffee. So put your phone up there and buy me a cup of coffee.
It should be us. This is ladies' night. It should be us. You're soliciting for yourself.
Eb, who or what are you most concerned about going into the playoffs?
I'm concerned about a lot.
Lay it on us.
I'm concerned about a lot. I had to make some notes so I don't forget nothing. First thing is Tibbs. That's always my first worry. My first worry is Tibbs. I always joke that he's first team all defense. He the best. He our best defender, because he'll make the changes for the opposing coach. Oh, he's on fire. Oh, it's time. You sit down. Coach like, thank you. The opposite coach like, I appreciate you, Tibbs. I appreciate you. So Tibbs not getting in his own way and overthinking things. I always say that he would not get invited to Rap City, the basement, because his freestyling game is terrible. He's straight written. Written. That's Tibbs, but he's getting better. He's learning. I see him trying. Yeah, I think it is a ghostwriter, maybe Johnny Bryant, but I see he trying. So that's that. Is can he not get out in his own way? riding the hot hands, like the other teams. We were like, who is this beating us with 25? Who? They ride the hot hands. We don't never have a who. We don't have the who's go off because they stop going to the who. As if it's not Brunson or Randle most of the time, they go back to the game plan. I just want whoever's hot, ride the hot hand till it flows off. It helps. It helps take pressure off of Brunson and Randle. You can rest them if that happens.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Oh yeah, just again adjusting to situations, not in general. If you have a 3-point shooting team, don't play your defense the way you normally play it because you're going to get torched, giving up people 3-pointers at will. Like adjusting individually instead of just a system. I think with Tibbs, I would like to see that, but that worries me with him. The bench and our defense, of course, because that defense does create offense and it helps us not depend solely on a half court offense. We don't have to just depend on Brunson and Randle creating shots to get us offense because we would get it from other places, whether it be offensive rebounding or, like I said, playing the passing lane and shutting people down and getting into fast breaks. I found that we're in transition more lately. So I hope we can continue that when the bench looks a little different. But just continuing that. The Stars minutes are a concern for me. Brunson minutes. Hopefully that we can help him with that and doing it as a team. If we don't go one-on-one, your turn, my turn, we stay away from that and just move. The ball moves faster than the man. You see, it looks beautiful too when that ball is moving, and it confuses defenses because nobody wants to think fast and have to move fast. You don't want to do that. So late rotations and things of that nature happen. So just a worry. I'm not going back to that your turn, my turn, and just keeping it within a flow of offense. And my last concern is, are we the New York Legos? That injury. So that's it. Do we have a team full of Legos now? I don't know, but I'm hoping not. I'm gonna be optimistic. Okay. But that's a list down of my worries. Yeah.
Okay. Good points. Pam?
Yeah, it's the non-Brunson minutes that really, once you take him off and it seems like the other team go, oh, he's off the floor, let's go. And it's like, okay. And my personal is the not getting involved with the referees, man. It takes them out the game like that. Miss a call. Instead of getting back on defense. That concerns me an awful lot because that right there is, you yelling at the referee and they going down there making a layup or taking a three or whatever it is. So that and us staying healthy or coming back healthy and staying healthy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think what concerns me is, as fans, we're expecting a deep run with a team that really hasn't played a lot of games together.
Mm-hmm.
OG came in December. He played, 16, 17 games. He's out. Randle hurt his shoulder. He's out. We get Burks and Bojan, but they're not playing right now in the roles that they're going to play in the playoffs. So I think that's a concern that the Knicks just not having been together a lot to form the chemistry that they're going to need to make a deep run. I'm encouraged by the fact that at least the starting unit has played together, for, 17 games or whatever it was in January. And so, they may not need a lot of time to get their rhythm back. But, Tibbs also runs some second unit players with the first unit, and vice versa. Like he has different lineups and he's not going to have a lot of time to, see how those, at least statistically, how these lineups play together before we go into the playoffs. And you're just going to have to do it and see. That's a concern. Not having a bona fide backup point guard, even third string, even even if he was situational, I just think the playoffs is just a different ball game, and it gets so intense. You know, you're more prone to mistakes the younger you are. You know, and particularly if that's not what you do, like in Burke's case. You know, it's just not who he is, and he's in these tough point guard situations where we need to get a good basket because we turned the ball over twice. You know, so now we got to come down. We need a really good shot. We need to run our sets. We need to, and he coming down pulling. Now I wanted Burks on the team. Don't get me wrong, but I'm still concerned about, because I feel like we needed some scoring out of that second unit.
Mm-hmm.
But I am concerned about not having a playmaking grizzly that's not going to get shook in these non-Brunson minutes. Yeah, I'm concerned. I think those are my main concerns. Anything anybody wants to add?
I saw
one more concern. Who's the third option behind Randle and Brunson? If they're double teaming Brunson, getting the ball out of their hands, if they're able to crowd Randle and the ball has to go somewhere else, can OG and Divo create a shot for us? I get it that off of Randle and Brunson, they can hit a shot. But if for whatever reason those two guys are being slowed down, do we have that third option that can get a shot? I'm more encouraged by Divo in terms of what I've seen when, during the injuries, him stepping up. And I'm a little encouraged by OG too, when he runs with that second unit, his assertiveness. So I'm a little encouraged, but I can't sit here and say I'm totally satisfied. I'm just encouraged. Ebony, say something?
Yes. I was skeptical about OG and his playmaking, like the mid-range game, the 3-level scoring, because I seen that it was either shot or all the dunking, but it was in the first 2 games, it wasn't a lot in that mid-range area. So I had questions about OG, but then as he got comfortable right before the injury, you see him getting really comfortable, and you saw him with some playmaking, So not playmaking, but getting into that mid-range and being able to pull up and things of that nature. So I think he can do it. It's just a matter of him being comfortable with his role and in our team. And I saw that before he got injured, like more so before he got injured. I was like, okay, let me see if we could see more, but I couldn't because he's hurt now.
Right.
And Donovan and DiVincenzo, I called him coming here when we got Josh Hart. I thought Devo's next. He's next. Because to me, and when he got here, I said, he's Josh Hart with the jump shot. That's exactly who he. He's gonna play hard, give you maximum effort. And he's but to see him with added responsibility, this is the first time in his career where he's had this type of opportunity. And every time he's gotten a little light, he's done well. He had injuries in Milwaukee, so they had to move on. I think they had another rookie that they had, put on or whatever. But when then you see him go to Golden State, and he took those minutes. They wasn't anticipating him playing that amount of minutes. He was taking minutes from the people that they thought, like Moody and things. So now he's in a starting lineup. I wouldn't expect any less him showing out. And I think that's going to continue. We might be talking about all-star Dante next year.
Yeah. I do think he may have a little bit more. He may have a little bit more in terms of growth in his game. He may not be at his ceiling. So I agree with you, Eb, and he's making me rethink, whether or not we need a number 3. And shout out to whoever just said that. OG, one is 3A and the other one is
3B.
Yeah.
Who are you more confident in to score? And you can answer the other question as well. Who are you most confident in to score behind Brunson and Randle? Divo or OG? And again, you can answer that with the prior question as well. Anybody?
I think it depends on who's hot. I think it's who has the hot hand, and if it's both, great. And to be honest, I think if either Divo or OG, between one of the two, if one of them isn't having a great night, I think Bogdanovich could be a nice step up behind one of those two. If one of them are struggling, he can come in and give you a nice, 18 to 20 points that night that is going to be needed. But I think Dante DiVincenzo has been really hot. I like what he's been doing these last few games, stepping in while Randle's been out, carrying the team on his back. When the Knicks played, when I went to that Utah game, he literally carried them on his back. I was like, wow. I remember I was saying to myself, I said, if he wasn't in this game, the Knicks weren't winning. He wasn't in that game, the Knicks were not winning that game. And, I go back to like what Ebony was saying. I remember saying like a few podcasts ago, I said, he's going to take Grimes minutes because of the experience level. The shooting is there. He's more confident when he's throwing up his shot, and he can get to the basket, whereas Grimes is not there yet. He's not able to put that ball on the floor and get to the basket.
Grimes or McBride?
Grimes. This is when he was still there. And I knew at the time when he was starting, I knew that Divo was going to take his spot, those minutes. I knew. I was just waiting for it to happen. I said, because I saw what he was doing in the first couple of games in the first half of the season. I said, okay, Dante DiVincenzo is going to move to that starting spot. I said, he's just what I'm seeing so far in the splashes of games. But I think, and honestly, I think even some games, McBride could even come in and give you, 14, 15, like a Josh Hart, 12 to 14 points in a night. That's going to help. But I think I'll go definitely with DiVincenzo, OG, and then I'll put up Bogdanovich behind those. So those three guys, I think that they're going to definitely be the keys to back up both Randle and Brunson.
Yeah, that's a good point. I have forgot about Bojan. Like I said earlier, he's bona fide. He's bona fide. He's played internationally as well. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he said last year was the first year he missed the playoffs since he's been in the league. So I don't know how many playoff games he has, but he has playoff experience. And we need that, because I think that's another concern. We don't really have players on the team who are used to going deep into the playoffs. I think Brunson went to the Western Conference Finals. Bojan may have went to the Western Conference Finals. I have to check that. Other than that, we don't really have anybody with deep playoff experience. And the more you go round for round into the playoffs, the tougher it gets.
Well, you got OG. OG has, and he didn't play, and Divo, he's been there too. So
I'm not sure when Divo got hurt, or did either one of them, between Divo and OG, played at least one or two rounds in the playoffs. I know they didn't play in the finals.
I think Divo did. I'm not sure.
Okay.
He got, his team got there. He was injured at the time though.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but do you know if he played the first two rounds or he missed the entire playoffs?
I'm not even sure. I know he was that season. He was very injury prone. I'm not sure if he played the playoffs or not. But he had.
But I still think he's the three, because even if you're injured and you haven't played, being in that atmosphere sometimes it just it's key.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
You gotta practice.
Yeah.
It was the same with OG too, right? OG didn't get to play in the finals.
Right. I don't know how many rounds he played in that playoffs though, but you're right. He didn't play in the finals.
So online it says in 2020 he played 10 games, 2021 he played 3 games, and 2023 he played 13 games.
Who is this?
This is Dante.
Yep.
Oh, so he played.
Which one was the championship year?
2021 he played 3 games.
He only played 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. What was the question again? My memory.
Dante missed us. Shout out to, I just want to take a moment. Shout out to my guy, G Fresh. I appreciate him. He down in, I believe it's Charlotte, doing his thing. Can't wait for him to join us on the panel. Thanks for tuning in, my friend. Hope everything is well with you and yours.
I think, can I answer the 3A? I think I like they were saying about 3A, 3B. That's how I take most of the jobs. If we look at it like that, it doesn't matter who, three. They can do it as a unit. That's how I look at iHeart and Mitch as one center. Perfect center minutes. If we get that with the 3 or 2 spot, that's a help, as a committee, as a team, and that was another worry while I'm here that I had. I'm sorry, I forgot that one. I skipped over it, y'all. My eyes are not as good as they used to be. Movement. These couple of games I seen the 5 men standing out, but they was just standing out. There wasn't any movement. There wasn't any backdoor cuts. It just, I'm gonna wait for this jump shot right here. I don't want to see that the whole game. That's a worry of mine. And yeah, that's it.
I think if we're back to full strength, you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
I just think with the players we have now, they first of all, that this group is not used to playing together. If you're talking about the game with Jacob Toppin and all of them, they're not used to playing together. Divo will cut, OG will cut. These are when the Knicks are healthy, that starting unit is a high IQ unit that knows how to play off of each other. So I think we're going to continue to see that. I think things bog down when you have players that are not shooting. That makes it easy or missing shots. That makes it easy for the defense. We don't have to worry about that guy over there. He ain't shooting. We could take that guy and pay more attention over here.
Yeah, that's true.
And I forgot who it was who just put it. The Knicks right here. The Knicks at full strength have no weakness on offense. You double Brunson and Randle, the snipers will make you pay. You want to get out on the shooters. That's more room for JB and JR. So you're absolutely right. Alan. Can Brunson be the best player on a championship contending team? I've asked this before in different panels. I believe you can ask the same question, but if you have different panel members, it's a different show. So can Brunson be the best player on championship contending? And I'm not talking about his height. I'm just saying the best player, period, on a championship contending team. Chris, we'll start with you.
Yes. I think it's heart with him. I think when he's played with heart. I don't know if you guys saw the All-Star game, but his dad was like pissed that, he didn't really do well in the 3-point contest. So I think with him, his father really drives him and really push him, and they have deep talk. So I definitely think he can, because I think he was, when he started, when Rick started out working with him, he probably said that I wanted you to be the best player in the NBA, and this is what I did to get there, but I want you to be better than me. So I think he's bred to do that. I think he's bred to be an MVP. I think, with everything that they put in, and on this team, definitely he's our MVP. Well, at least he's mine.
Mine too.
You know what I'm saying? He mine.
Mine too.
Pam?
I believe so, because to be the all-star, be the most important person on your team is like, if you like when you take him off the court, what happens? So of course he can win. Yes, he all hell breaks loose once he gets off the court. So him being on the court, everybody has to key on him. They have to have somebody at him. They're gonna run somebody at him. They're gonna, put their defense around him. And if he wasn't on there, we go back to square one. I got a point guard. That's all I care about. I got a point guard now. Okay.
Lady and the Chef, then Eb.
Yeah, I agree with both Pam and BxChris. To me, I think some people don't, I think it gets a little overlooked that Brunson has made the huge difference. He's the difference maker since he's come to the team. So he's brought the Knicks from the level that they were, struggling, you know. And then they were crusty, dusty, and a hot mess. He came here and he brought them to a different level because he carried the team on his back. And I think that's a true testament to what Chris was saying about his heart. Because last year in the playoffs, I saw Brunson going from one end of the floor and hustling down to the other end to try to do whatever he could to get the ball back. And when other guys, we're not going to name any names right now. I'm not even going to be petty. But when other guys were giving up and not trying to hustle and complaining to the refs, he was still hustling and doing what he needed to do to try to do everything in his power. And that to me resonated with me watching those games. I was like, wow, I have a respect for this guy because the way he's getting out there hustling, diving for loose balls and sacrificing his body for screens and taking the offensive.
That's true.
He just, to me, this is his team, and we all know that. And I think in the beginning, I remember, and I didn't know, I said to myself, maybe I'm looking too deep into this, but I said, I think when Brunson first got here, I thought that Randle was a little like, who is this guy and what is he doing? And it was like a slight case of jealousy, but I think it took Randle seeing what he's doing. It was almost like when a new manager comes to a job and you're like, what the hell are they doing here? But change can be good. And I think what Brunson is doing, he set the tone that we can be something and we can be better. I see the potential. Come along for the ride. You know, you don't have to stay on this losing path anymore. And I think that when you have that leadership there, you know, sometimes I would like to see him be more vocal, but I think when you have that leadership, and I think a lot of that comes from like his Rick is like Serena and Venus pops.
Yeah.
He's on them. Like he's like their pops. Like he's on them. Like, yo, man, see this ball? Put it through that hoop. I'm like, you're gonna keep doing that 1,000 times tonight. So I think that's how he is with him. But I think it's a testament to what you see him doing on the floor. It shows that the work that he's put in, you know, it truly shows. But to me, Brunson truly is a star in his own right. And I think he is very close to superstar status. But I think with this Knicks team, he has proven, I mean, just the things that he does, the tough baskets. I watched his head almost split open at the Utah game. We all would taking a deep breath because we didn't know if this man had a concussion or not. Yeah. You know, but I think that what he does to this team and what he's done with this Knicks organization has truly just showed that he's brought them to a different level. They've evolved as a team. And I think that it works because Randle said on Podcast P that he doesn't mind being the second, third option. So I think with the both of them, it works. And, you know, Randle, I don't think anyone's trying to get in his way, whether it's on the Knicks or any other team, because even with great defense, he figures out a way. Even with teams figuring out Brunson's moves, he figures out a way with sometimes 2-3 guys on him, how to still pivot and move his feet without traveling and still get that ball in the hoop. So, you know, I think that he's most definitely throughout the tenure of the remaining of this season and in the postseason, that superstar Brunson is definitely going to come out.
Yeah, I mean, before I get to Eb, I'll just say this real quick. Brunson has that it factor. Like you can look at a player who they're not running fast, they're not jumping high, but you could just look at that play and be like, there's something about this guy. And I remember seeing that when 2 years ago, well, he's been with us. This is his second year, so it might have been 4 years ago when he was in Dallas, and they said they weren't going to sign him to an extension. And I was on Queen's Court. I didn't even have this channel yet. I was like, the Knicks need to go after this guy Brunson. He's a winner. I had no idea he was going to be this, but I thought he was going to be good. I was like, this guy is a winner. You know, this guy right here, there's just something about this guy right here. And he came to us, and I still feel the same way. Like, when you think about star, I don't know if I want to say it's only about a handful of superstars. I don't even consider Tatum a superstar. I think he's a star. So it's only a handful of superstars. But when you look at a star, what do you look at? Somebody where the opposing team is keying on that player, and good luck.
Good
You
enough.
can key on Tatum all you want. You're not stopping him. You might slow him down, but you're not stopping Tatum. And we got one of those guys. And we can name, you can go down the line. Giannis to me is a superstar. Some people would disagree, but star, superstar. Basically, ain't nothing you could do with him. No matter how much you try, there's nothing you can do with him other than to try to slow them down. And I think Brunson is in that category.
And he still got a window. Like, I don't think
And he's still, you're right.
Yeah, I don't think
get better.
Everything from him, and it's crazy because he's scary where he is now. So just imagine 2 years where he's gonna be at, if healthy, if he don't get a major injury, where he's gonna be.
Right.
And he just said, I just saw on an interview, he was trying to stay in Dallas.
Yeah.
Right.
He was trying to stay in Dallas, and Dallas said no, and he said okay. And then when they brought it back to him, he said no.
Better
and they said, he said the Knicks came and it's history. He says, I was like, yes, thank you.
Yeah, he has a ceiling, and it's just, I don't know. He remind me a little bit of Allen Iverson sometimes when he's going into the paint, and I'm like, we haven't really seen nobody that size since Iverson, I believe, that playing the way he's playing.
Yeah, that's true. Because Allen, he'd be like, yo, what he doing in there next to you?
You done toured on somebody.
That's true. All right. I mean, we'll move on, and then when Eb come back, she can answer that question. There she go. All right, Eb, on you.
Writing notes.
No, my bad, y'all. Okay. Yeah, I definitely. First of all, I want to say thank you, Mavs. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for being cheap. Appreciate it. But yeah, I definitely think he could be a superstar. I think he is a superstar. The fact, the heart, that work ethic, the IQ is all there. He has all the tools, and the fact that people mention his height, but when you have somebody who's scoring, wasn't he number one in that percentage in that area, like top 5 or something of that nature? And he sees I was about to say that he sees a bigger person and he puts them in the post. I've never seen that.
Me either.
I've never seen that.
Right.
He sees a bigger person and he goes, up, post time. It's time to post up, So there is no such thing as he's too small, because he doesn't see that. It doesn't matter, a bigger person is not deterring him from doing anything. So that size thing may only account on the other end, and even on that end, he gives you effort though. It's just straight what his he's just his height challenge, but he gives you effort. He gives you effort. He gives you the charge, puts his body on the line, and we don't even know where his ceiling is. He adds every game. Every year he adds on, and the fact that he sent Donovan Mitchell packing back-to-back seasons, I love that. But yeah, it's just everything he's learning. I said before, people were talking about his passing earlier in the season and last season. My whole thing with that was he was passing the ball, but more so in the flow of the offense, not just bailouts, like intentionally trying to get other people shots, and he's doing that. And I also mentioned that this is his second year running his team. He has to find a balance of getting his own and creating for others. And I feel that he's found that balance, or he's doing very well with it. What else? He's starting to remind. That's why I said Steph. I seen somebody mention Steph. He's starting to remind me of two of my favorites, and I say that all the time: AI and Steph. The fact that he keeps receipts and that fuels him reminds me of Steph, because Steph does that. He takes his phone into the locker room to read the hate, give him extra motivation. So like things of that nature. Because Angry Brunson is my favorite version of Brunson. I don't know when people are going to stop putting their hands on him, because you only adding fuel to the fire. I don't know. Don't when they're going to recognize that, but I hope they don't. Also, yeah, the fact Just FNOD winner. The lights, and he gets his best basketball comes in the clutch moments. And that's what you need in your number one. You need that to go far in the championship. To get a chip, they're going to be clutch moments. They're going to be lots of those. So to have somebody that you're confident in, that can get the ability to get you a bucket whenever you want to, and it be your point guard, which we haven't had in years. This kind of feels like, I don't know, like a dream almost. Like, this is our team. This is a Knick team. So I appreciate the Mavs. I do. And I know that Brunson, he's won on every level he's been on. So let's hope he continues that trend. And we got a lot of people to make it look silly. Kenny Smith, Candace. I'm sorry, Candace. I gotta mention
Candace
Parker,
Parker.
Becky Hammond, Becky Hammond especially.
Yeah, Becky too.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely our superstar.
All right, everybody answered. You answered, Pam, right? Yeah, Pam answered already. Everybody answered?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you mad if the Knicks don't make it to the NBA Finals this year? Not disappointed, mad if they don't make it to the NBA Finals this year? Because some Knicks fans sound like they're going to be mad.
Not mad, just disappointed. I know that they could probably do it if they're healthy. It's everything goes around health. If they're not healthy, I'm just going to take it as it is, but I'm not going to be mad. No, not mad.
Okay. Anybody else?
I won't be mad. I still feel like we need a piece. I'm not sure what it is, so I won't be mad. I'll be like a little disappointed because I felt like we need something. I just really don't know what it is, but I think we need something to kind of like push us over the hump.
So that's a good question, because I'm assuming, I probably should have asked this question first. I'm assuming that everybody on the panel. So let me ask this question. Do you think the Knicks are a championship contending team as presently constructed, or do you think we need more? Or it could be and yes, and we need more. I don't know.
Yes, and we need more.
Right.
That's right.
I don't know, dude. Like that's the one of the things with the trade. I thought we needed one shooter. How we get two? Did we just do too much? Like, that's what I asked. Did we do too much? But I agree. I think we can healthy. I think we can. That's two, sometimes three players a position we could throw at you. That's a lot of looks, and matching up with just about anybody. What style of play you wanna play? We have somebody kind of to do that or defend on the other end for that. So yeah, I definitely think we're a championship team. We can be, especially if we play like a team. Will I be disappointed if we're not? No, but I don't want to regress. Anything but a regression, then I'll be upset. So that's it. Second round we could get, hopefully past second round will be nice. Not hopefully. Let me manifest. Eastern Conference Finals, right? Bare minimum, right? Bare minimum. So that's just it. I think I won't be disappointed. I mean, I won't be angry. But
first round exit, I'll be angry.
Yes, there you go.
I would be
angry
if we're healthy. If we're healthy.
Yeah, if we're healthy.
Yeah.
If we're healthy, first round exit.
Yeah, I agree.
Then I'll be pissed. Yeah.
Lady in the shop.
Yeah, I think the Knicks still are missing something. I'm not sure what.
Yeah.
I think right now I'm sitting arms crossed, sitting next to Leon. I'm watching to see what these fellas do.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't, I'm going to have to step in and do my job and make some moves happen because, we have pressure on us on the front office. This organization hasn't really made any moves in decades. And I think that if this team can't do it, I don't think necessarily there's going to be a huge set of moves, but I think that someone's going to have to take the bait and they're going to have to make a move to make this right. I don't think that I'm going to be mad, only if healthy, they either get it, even if it is a first or second round, or if the Knicks, if healthy and they just don't play well, kind of like how the Liberty did in a championship game against Vegas. I was watching like, what is this? Is this a championship game? Because they
the
played
same
like it was a regular season game. Right. It was very like, you couldn't believe what was happening. And I think if the Knicks come out with that kind of energy where we're like, what is going on? You know how sometimes you watch Tibbs and his arms is crossed and he's like, what are y'all doing? He's looking at them like, if the Knicks are coming out like that, I think, yes, I'm going to be upset because I'm going to be like, where was the effort? Where was the heart? Where was the energy? But if the Knicks put forth the energy and there was heart and that will to try, then I'll just be disappointed and I'll have to live with that. Because last year, the second round, it was a tough one. It took me a while to gather my bearings after that one, a few weeks actually, if we want to be exact. It really did. But I think that, like most Knicks fans, we want it so badly, and I know that it takes time for us to get there. But I agree with Pam and BxChris. I think that the Knicks still need some to make some kind of move to bring someone in, and I don't know if that move is going to be we make a move to get a more dominant, prominent center position, or if that's the front office is looking at someone like a Julius Randle who's been with this team. And you have to look at it kind of in the eyes of like how they did with RJ Barrett. He had been here with a decent tenure with the Knicks, and there was really no elevation there. And I think that's the same with Randle. I think while his game is completely different than RJ's and he's gotten better individually, I think as a whole, as a team, and I know some people may say, oh, but he didn't have the help. Understandably, he didn't have the help. But I think that there's a difference when sometimes a player who is very skilled, they can still pull out wins and bring a team along throughout a season. Whereas with, I don't know, I think some, just as an organization as a whole, they may look at him and maybe because he's due for a payday, just like Brunson's going to be due for one. So I don't know. I think that they still need something, but right now I'm sitting and watching and seeing what this team does, hoping that everyone comes back healthy.
I would agree with that. I think we're at the beginning of our window.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if the Knicks don't win a championship, make it to the finals, I'm not angry at all. I think we're going to get to see what this team needs. We're going to get to see if this is really a championship contending team, because you could be a championship contending team on paper, but you got to play the games. Like you can look at the roster and be like, wow, this is a well-balanced roster. And, we got a nice duo or a really good duo. I really believe in the duo of Randle and Brunson. And we got, shooters around them. We got a good coach. I think we can make a run, and then you get into the playoffs and you're gonna really know whether you can make a run, because I think it takes more than just having a roster to win to win a championship. You got to have that roster perform against difficult circumstances. You get to the Eastern Conference Finals, that team knows everything about you. And not only do they know everything about you and what your weaknesses are, but they're a good enough team that they have players that can execute and take your strengths away. Right? In the first round, the team may know, oh, they like to go inside. We're going to take that away. But they may not be good enough as a team to take it away. They may not have the personnel to do it. By the time you get to the Eastern Conference Finals, they're going to have the personnel to take away your strengths. And that's why I always feel like behind Brunson and Randle, who else do we, who's that third guy for us? And I'm feeling, like I said, a bit more confident in OG and Divo. But no, I would definitely not be disappointed. I know people, even if we don't get to the Eastern Conference Finals, we beat Milwaukee or Boston. One of them are not going to be there if we're there.
Yeah.
Right. And as busted up as Milwaukee looks now, they still got bona fide, superstars. And I've seen teams be raggedy in the regular season and turn it on in the playoffs. Now,
Miami.
I think we're a better team than Milwaukee. I believe we can beat Milwaukee. So I'm not saying that because I'm afraid of Milwaukee. I think the Knicks are better than Milwaukee. But the point I'm trying to make is I'm not going to count Milwaukee out because they're struggling
Yeah.
right now and automatically chalk it up to the Knicks should win.
Mhm.
Right?
I didn't think Milwaukee. I haven't been scared of Milwaukee all season. Like that's why when we lost, it was surprising me. Like why are we losing to this team? And it wasn't. It was because one, we couldn't really hit a shot. Because Milwaukee's biggest problem to me is they can't really guard anybody.
Yeah.
I call him Amian now, but no D. Amian, aim time. Because that baby allergic on that, and I think they gave up way too much on when they gave up Drew Holiday, just somebody that can guard 1 through 4 and run your team and can give you a bucket if you need it. I think they could, and they didn't replace it. It was the same way with Boston. I was the same thing with Boston until they got Drew Holiday. Then I was like, all right, they're really legit now. I thought they gave up too much with Marcus Smart. Just somebody versatile like that. But then they got somebody better in Drew Holiday. So they're the only team really that I'm worried about that they do it on both ends, can switch it up a little bit, and they have the vets. They have the Al Hartfords and things of that nature. They have vets. But I think we can match up with anybody. We on a winning streak against the defending champs. So I think we match up with anybody.
And Pat Beverly is not a Drew Holiday.
Mm-mm.
No.
It
Not
doesn't even matter. Brunson, I don't care who you have.
Yeah.
But again, when you have stars like that, you can't stop them. You're just basically trying to slow them down and you're trying to make it hard for them. Trav, I'm with you. Shout out to Trav B. Ryan. Check out his page on Twitter. He does a lot of Nick songs, Nick raps, I call them. He said, I think this is the beginning. We're going to learn to be patient one way or another. Enjoy the ride. That's where I'm at. Enjoying the ride with this. Because I think this is the way the front office is approaching it. They didn't go super hard at the trade deadline. I think that's the approach they're taking too. Let's see where this team can go. They'll let us know what we need to do in the offseason. And I forgot who said it on the panel. I do believe they want to see Randle. I really think before they hand out that max contract to both him and Randle, I think they do want to see Randle. Now, I agree. I think it was Nick Yak. He didn't have the shooters around him when we played Atlanta to give him that space to operate. And then he was injured, last year. But we still don't know. It could be legitimate reasons why we don't know, but we still don't know. Right? And I think now this season he's going in with the shoulder. But the Knicks are going to have to make a decision on whether or not you're giving max money to Julius Randle. And the reason it's a concern to me is once you pay Randle, once you pay Brunson, once you pay OG, whoever else, you locked into that second tier, and it's going to be very difficult to improve your team. Now, if you locked with a championship contending team, no problem. No problem. But if you locked and Randle ain't that dude, that's a problem.
Yep.
That's a problem. So, I mean, we'll see. And listen, am I putting my money on Randle? I'm putting my money on Randle. I do believe that he's going to shine this playoffs if he's healthy. But I'm sure the front office, I'm guessing that's their thinking. We got to see. They've been super smart in terms of their money and managing their assets.
Yeah. The one thing I love about the front office, I've been a front office fan, and when everybody was trying to say, do something, you sleepily, I liked it because I thought he was trying to like get the Knicks tax, make people respect us. Like, you're not coming in here with any and everything, and I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing either. Like, so now you don't believe the ESPNs or whatever because you like, we don't know nothing. I know you don't know nothing. I know they don't talk to anybody. So I definitely like the free agency. The only thing that I didn't like at first was them not keeping Tibbs accountable with the minutes, like the player minutes, maybe. That's the only thing I would change. I like their patience. And I also think that we don't know who's going to be available because with this new, like you mentioned, this new CBA, people don't want to get to that second apron. It might be a lot of people on clearance sale. I call it a lot of people who you don't think is going to be available. So the fact that we got our picks still and we're not handcuffed, that's a big move. If it doesn't work, if this team doesn't work, they have a lot of flippable assets to change this around again if they need to. I believe. But I agree about the Randle thing. They want to see him in that kind of environment before they say, yes, I'm willing to go into the second apron for you.
Agreed.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Anything else before we get to this last segment on Thibodeau?
Do you think Brunson brings out the dog in Randle, like the first part of it? Like after he kind of got his feet after the surgery, they were playing like damn near mirror each other. Like 40, you get 40, I get 30, you get 40, I get 40. Like, do you think that he brings that out in Randle? Like he makes Randle want to play and do better? Or you think it's just his season right now, his timing?
Yeah, I'm gonna say this. Randle was already a dog. Randle's already a beast. I think people sour on Randle because of his facial expressions. They don't think he was a team player. No, I'm just saying in general.
Okay.
They don't think he's a team player. So everybody's trying to say Brunson is the one they make each other better. Brunson is better when Randle is on the court. Randle is better when Brunson is on the court. I'm not buying into Brunson. It's Randle is playing this way because of Brunson, because Randle was a beast before Brunson even got here. But I will say that Randle not getting all of the attention because Brunson is here on the court, opens up his game to do more, because you can't double team him. You can't crowd him when Brunson is there. And I think it's the same thing with Randle. With Brunson, you can't crowd Brunson as much when Randle is there. So I think they make each other.
Okay.
It's a little he's more comfortable, he's relaxed. He don't have to bring up the ball. He ain't got to put nobody in the position to play. He can just go and do. Remember,
Randle's the better player.
Right. Randle was shooting.
Not Randle. Brunson is the better player, I should say.
Right.
That argument is dead.
Right. But Randle is comfortable now that he's there, so that he doesn't have to bring up the ball. He doesn't have to get these kids in situations where they need to shoot the ball. He can go down there. Remember, when we first got him, he was taking all those threes. He was taking threes, and taking threes. This year, he stopped taking threes, and now he's down there. He's banging bodies. He's getting the dirty work done. So
do you think he's taking less threes now because we have 3-point shooters? Like, do you think he was taking more threes because we just didn't have, and now that we do, with Divo coming to the team, that he didn't have to take that many threes?
Right. I think he wanted to go back to the game that he's used to playing.
Yeah.
And that bully ball is what he used to playing. The 3-pointer was just cream on the top. That's what I think.
I think that's what my question really was. I think I worded it wrong, but I feel like with Brunson being here, he can go to his natural game. Like he can go to what he don't have to force the three. He don't have to bring. Like he could just go down and just set up and play him. So that's what I was trying to say, but I just probably kind of worded the wrong way.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think that like the parent was saying, I think Brunson allows Randle that extra pressure to not even think about it, to just play, like be natural, not in his own head. Because these players are human too. They get nervous. They want to do well, and sometimes you can get in your own head. Being a professional athlete doesn't change that. So just allowing him to do what he wants to do. Do what he's capable of doing. And I thought that this Randle could be dominant a long time ago. That was one of my biggest pet peeves with Randle. I felt like he was trying to be a big guard instead of a power forward. I think he came out in the season shooting a lot, but it was off. He was way off. And then you start, I think it was like that first Milwaukee game or maybe the second Milwaukee game. He did that move against Giannis, And I remember it because I asked him, please put that bat in your bag and don't let it come out ever. Like don't leave it. Do that all the time. You do that, nobody's gonna stop you. And that's been a move he's been doing ever since. And you can see the difference. Like it's nobody strength wise, one-on-one really that can hold Randle when he in that mid range area, which is why I was I always mentioned to you, Queen, about that Miami series and the 2-3, how that's where I felt he should have lived at, right in that area, to help break that zone in and out. But just to see him do it now, I think the sky's the limit. And one of the reasons that I'm not a big Randle fan, but I would never really scream trade, because I know we're not going to get anybody that he fits perfectly in what we want to do. And I don't see anybody else in that role without us giving up tons of money or whatever it is. I think him it's never been his skill that was in question for me. It was always just his willingness, his mental to do the smaller things, like getting others involved and things of that nature. But I see the growth in his game, and also I see that he's watching film. You can tell. You definitely can tell he's watching film now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We 2.5 hours in. So we're not going to be able to get to all of the Thibodeau questions. Are you confident or not? Let's go with this one. And Tibbs coaching going into the playoffs. All right, Pam, we'll start with you.
I'm fine with Tibbs and the way he coaches. He coaches the team the way he's been doing, and for the most part, we still winning games. So he's not the best of them, but he ain't the worst of them either. So
I'm gonna stick with him.
Stick right along with him.
It's like that meme. That's my man. I'ma stand beside him.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I think I felt like I gave my Tibbs rundown on the worries, but yeah, I'm a little worried about him. As long as he don't get his own way, though, we should be okay. Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that doesn't happen. No first team all defense Tibbs, please.
I think he's changing a little bit. I'm hoping that he's changing a little bit, because he doesn't have to be the coach that he was with the teams he had prior to. So now he has a little more flexibility. It's just, will he be flexible with the team? I think that's my only thing with him, is will he be flexible? Because he don't need to make the changes. He don't need to stay with the players as long as he needs to stay with them. So let's see,
Okay.
Let's see what this Tibbs gonna do.
We could do
with everybody healthy.
Yeah.
We could do at least 10 Tibbs.
I don't know if he's gonna do 10. You pushing it. He good. Hey, he might go 9.
Yeah. I said this before. Most coaches do part of rotation down in the playoffs. What I would like him to do, though, is be flexible. If you're gonna play 9, be flexible in the 9 you use.
Yeah.
So if it's a series where you feel like you need that offense and you want to go with Bojan over Precious, for the most part, that's fine. If it's a series where you feel like you need more of a defensive presence, and may not even be a series, it could be for game to game, a game where you feel like you need more defense, to go with Precious backing up Randle as opposed to Bojan. The thing about going 10 is the minutes get spread out and your best players get less minutes, unless that 10th player is like 10 minutes, 8 minutes, 12 minutes, then I guess that's not, too big.
Like you said, the 10th, what I was saying is just like to give flexibility. Just don't have them. Oh, nope, I'm not going that far. Just to be able to be willing to do it. No, I know people don't get deep into their lineups, but I also don't think they have the type of depth that we do too. So, just calling it a game by game. I'm a game by game person. Whoever's impacting the game plays. That's how my philosophy on it, basically. Right. But we shall see.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I respect Tibbs for whatever his philosophy is. He's allowed to have it, and it may listen. There's multiple things Tibbs do philosophy-wise, I don't agree with. Having guys out there with 3 minutes left and the game is in hand. Though, in that game in which Brunson got hurt and he came out, we lost a 20-point lead and I'm like, they reinforcing the PTSD. Because as soon as Brunson, I think he hit his eye, was that the eye game? We was up by like 18. He came out, boom, next thing you know was 6. You know what I mean? So I think that kind of reinforces Tibbs keeping guys in there. So, you know, that, and I agree with Eb. I'm somebody, when I coach, I rode the hot hand. But there are other coaches who don't do it. But that was how I coach. Every coach is entitled to their philosophy. That's mine. Ride the momentum, wherever it is. Bring guys in for spot minutes. If you see something, you just want to bring a guy in for spot minutes. You don't want a guy to pick up another foul. You want to bring him in. I'm all for that, but I'm not gonna get on somebody because they have a different philosophy for me. However, I'm looking for game to game, like adjustments offensively and defensively. I know you guys are talking about rotation adjustments. I mean, that's fair. I'm talking about game adjustments. This guy's been going off. What are we going to try? May not be able to stop him, but what are we going to try? Are we going to double now, or are we going to wait till 3 minutes left in the game to double? Like what are we going to do? Like those are the things that I'm looking for. Yeah. All right, last game they doubled Brunson, Okay, when he was bringing the ball down, as soon as he got over half court, what's the adjustment? What's the offensive adjustment on that? Is somebody else bringing the ball down, down the court now? Like, that's what I'm looking for. What are the offensive and defensive adjustments? And I get it. Rotations is part of adjustments, but coaches have their philosophies on that. But I'm really looking into offensive and defensive adjustments in game and between game. And what I'll say to the fans is, I don't want to hear we lost. Oh, he didn't make adjustments. Oh, we won. Oh, he made adjustments. When we have our shows, I need y'all to look at these games, pinpoint. You come on this show, when you talk about he didn't make an adjustment, I need you to be specific. I can't get into, we lost because he didn't make adjustments. Oh, we won. Oh, Tibbs is doing great. Because Tibbs is tibbing. Whether we winning or losing, they doing the same stuff. People just like we on a winning streak. Oh, Tibbs is changing. Okay.
Right.
He doing the same stuff. I need to see. That's what I'm going to be looking for. They did this. What are we going to do?
Yeah. What's the Knicks' response? And I think that's a really great point that you brought up, because I've seen where a lot of teams will put that full court pressure on Jalen Brunson. And I'll look at the Knicks and I'm looking and I'm like, I'm like the ref. I'm doing this and I'm like, who's coming up to help?
Right.
Who's coming up to help? Because we're about to get a backcourt violation because no one's helping them out. And then finally someone will come up and grab the ball and bring it down. But I just think it's like, how do you respond, especially in a playoff series, to teams attacking you in specific ways, whatever capacity that may be from a team, right? But I also think for Tibbs, one of the things that I'm looking at is I heard Ebony say that Jalen Brunson is our clutch close. He's clutch for us. To me, he's the strongest closer that you have. And I think about prime example when we played Miami in the playoffs last year, and Jalen Brunson didn't have the best decision making on that last play, but he looked like he wanted to throw it out to Josh Hart at the top of the key. And it makes me wonder, if we get in a predicament like that this year, who should Tibbs have the plays set around for those last second shots if we need to go there? I'm not saying who should we have bringing us back into the game or keeping the lead for us, but who do you go to take that last second shot for us that we know is going to be clutch? Now, we have guys who can knock down a shot, but who are we very confident in that can make that last second shot for us down the stretch?
You mean if they take the ball out of Brunson's hands?
Right.
Okay.
And he has to pass it Or do we run a play and we have enough time where he could pass it and then come off a curl, a screen, and then they could pass it back to him? But I've seen at times where Tibbs, sometimes you look and you're like, was that a play drawn up, or was that the team that they just didn't fully run the play? So those are the things that I question sometimes with Tibbs. Is like, did you run a play for somebody to get that ball and take that last second shot, or did the team just fail to fully execute the play? And so that's something that I'm gonna be watching for with him as well.
Yeah, it's true.
I think with the plays though, I don't think it's where it ends up with one. I think it's just options off of the play.
Mm-hmm.
I think
First,
this is option
third.
1, this is option 2, this is option 3. I don't think
Mhm.
it's like we're gonna run this play just for this person. I think it's options, because teams may cover your first option. Then you got to be able to go to your second. You got to be able to go to your third. So the thing about it is having the players out there who can execute, like Josh Hart in that spot at the top of the key. Like, what was he gonna do? Though, he did hit that big shot in Cleveland in that same spot. But what is he gonna do? But this is what happens when you have an uneven team, where you need to have somebody in there for defense and rebounding, but they can't help you on the offensive end. I think the Knicks are much more balanced now. So hopefully they can have players in there where you don't have to choose between offense and defense. That you can have players in there that can do that you could do both. But yeah, to ally wise, and some of you ladies may have coached as well. Sometimes you do make the adjustments and the players don't execute. And it's hard to tell where was the breakdown. I know after the game, like, Steph, you called, what the hell? What was you called that? You called the to hit that shot. And I'm like, that really wasn't the play. She was supposed to swing it one more time, but she thought she had the shot. So, she took it. So that does happen sometimes, where you do make the adjustment and the players just don't execute. Not all the time, but it happens sometimes. You firing Tibbs if Knicks don't make the Eastern Conference Finals?
No.
It depends how we lose that how we lose the playoffs. I ain't gonna hold you because like you give him everything you wanted. He's not big on youth. So they traded the youth, got veteran pieces in here, got you another defender like OG in here. This is the type of players that you want. Kind of, looks like the Chicago Bulls in a lot of ways. You got tons of bigs that play defense. You have what normal Tibbs players, if you want to say.
Except for Bojan. I don't think Bojan was a Tibbs player. I don't know if he was even on
Tibbs radar.
I don't think so. And as a matter of fact, we'll know when we're healthy and you see McBride playing over Bojan, you will know that this wasn't
not his guy.
You might be right, but I think if what I saw, the little glimpse that I saw, he's gonna make him play him. And if Detroit Burks is Detroit Burks, then he gonna make Bogey play too, because he like, all right, which I got Burks in Detroit still, or Bogey that's in New York, So I think we have that if he doesn't, because everybody's playing for extension right now. Everybody wants their extension. Players in front office included, coaches included, looking for that extension. Everybody's job is on the line. So if you don't show, you got to go. I just keep telling everybody it's a show and go year, So they might be like, well, I have to extend you, and maybe not.
Right.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'm not gonna fire him. I think he's finally got the players that he wanted, and when healthy, he had the team playing at top-notch competitive. So I'm not gonna get rid of him right now. Now, if a great coach come upon us, hey, then he might have to go. But for what the team is looking like, as of now, the way it's constituted, he is the coach for this team.
Yeah, I agree with Pam. I don't think yet, but I think it also depends how the Knicks do this postseason, especially. Like we know what the Knicks could do during the regular season, and I agree 100% with what she just said. I think yes, he now has the players that he can work with, whereas before we had some guys who still needed a lot of guidance, and I think Tibbs needs guys who are ready now. We need guys who are ready to execute now in games and who are going to take us over that hump towards winning, consistently winning. And but I think if there is, someone out there better coach wise, then yeah, I think Tibbs has had his time here. He's had a nice, decent run here. It was rough. He's definitely made the team better. I'm not gonna exclude that out. I think Tibbs has done a great, and he's known as a coach who's done that on other teams. He's coached, where he's brought teams who were crappy, and he's turned that organization around with working with who he had. So I don't know. I think that again, I really feel like a lot of eyes are gonna be on the Knicks, and again we're looking at health, yes. And if the Knicks are healthy or have a decent amount of players back who are healthy enough to play, even if that is on limited minutes, I think eyes are definitely on the Knicks, considering how well they have done this year.
Sure. Chris?
That's a tough question because end of the year we don't make it to the finals. We're gonna get rid of them. I mean, for me, honestly, I feel the Knicks probably feel that they've put a decent team together. I like I said, I still feel like there's something missing. I think an early exit first round, yes, but I think if he gets to the conference finals, or I wouldn't do it because like I said, I still feel like we're missing something. So maybe we make the trade and get a couple pieces in or a piece in, and still we have the same results. Then yeah, but I don't think so. I think he has to have time to coach the people that you put. He doesn't even have like a year with with the players, like a whole season. Like hasn't started with a whole season with the team. So I don't know if you go and do that right away. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do think Tibbs is on the clock. I do think I do think he's on the clock, but in my opinion, that clock doesn't start this season.
Yeah.
Regardless, I agree with you, Chris. This is not the team you had coming out of training camp. This is not a team that's been together for an entire season. OG came and Precious came in December. You got a whole host of injuries with Randle's shoulder and OG's, whatever it is. And now you're bringing in Burks and Bojan, and I don't know, maybe they have 10 games together, maybe 15 going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And if you lose in the second round or even the first round, you're fired, with a team that hasn't been together too long. I think that's a bit too much. But I do think that, this is the making, this is where it counts. And I've always said this to about Tibbs and any coach. Judge a coach when they have a good roster. People are expecting miracles from coaches who don't have full rosters, right? Yeah. Now he has a decent enough roster. And so now, yes, there are expectations. And this is any coach. Now you got a roster. You're not getting into the finals 2 years, 3 years. You got to go. That's how it was with Doc Rivers. That's how it was with the Milwaukee coach, and he won a championship. That's how it is, and I think that's fair. So I do think Tibbs is on the clock, but not this season. Give this guy, I think people want to get rid of Tibbs so much.
For who?
That there's somebody else out there that's perfect and don't have their own issues. The next coach is going to probably be better than Tibbs in some areas, and we're going to be complaining about that coach in other areas, because that's just how it is with coaching. There's no perfect coach, that's just how it is. So let this guy rock, with the team you're putting together, because you very well may take a step back making changes right now. And you look at these championship contending teams, they had opportunities to grow together.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't like, I mean, Boston did make a coaching change, but they didn't make a coaching change the first time they didn't win a championship.
Right.
Milwaukee, the first time they didn't make a championship. Teams, sometimes you got to grow together. And sometimes that means taking tough losses in the playoffs and being able to rebound the next year. That's how you grow as a team, as opposed to, oh, you had a bad. Oh, you got to go. We got to make changes. We got to trade Randle. We got to get rid of this one. Now you know, possibly taking a step back because now that team has to get chemistry. So I'm not for trading, firing Thibodeau or trading Randle in the offseason under any circumstances. I'm just not for it. Let this team rock a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, let this team rock a little bit before we, you know, make changes. If it happens, obviously I'm gonna deal with it because I'm Knicks all the way, regardless. But let this team rock a little bit and let's see, you know, let's see what they can do and not be so quick to make changes. Now that we have a young veteran team, kudos to the front office. And this is a young veteran team with a window. Not an old veteran team where you got a 2-year window because LeBron gonna be 45 in 2 years. So we gotta hurry up and win. We got a young veteran team that has a 4 or 5 year window.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't make changes around the edges. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying let them rock for a little bit.
I seen 100 mention Ish Smith, Clyde's favorite.
I'm for Ish.
Yeah, that's not a bad little insurance plan on the bench.
Isn't he on somebody's? He's playing for somebody.
I thought they released him.
Nah, somebody
they released him.
I'm looking at the this is last on Google. It says last played for Charlotte Hornets.
So they
yeah, it says 2 weeks ago Hornets waived James Bouknight, Frank Ntilikina, and Ish Smith.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm for that.
That was crazy.
Remember, Miami
got rid of somebody for Bouknight. Who did they get rid of for Bouknight? They got rid of somebody for
Bouknight.
They just
That's
waived
what I'm saying. And that was their first round pick, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
I was mad we didn't get him. I'm glad we didn't. See, we all wrong sometimes.
Right. And when everybody talk about Tibbs ain't playing the young guy, it happens throughout the NBA where guys don't get light.
I think Bouknight had his own hand in that though. My man had some off court issues. He got caught. Yeah, he has off court issues.
I want to say this. Miami picked up DeLon Wright, who I like. I like his height, you know, and he's one of them players that do a little bit of everything. And then Philly picked up, you know, Lowry. Just for insurance, you know, you just gotta have these guys that have been there before, though that's not DeLon Wright. But so hopefully Ish Smith was on Denver. Was it Ish Smith or somebody else?
Ish Smith was on Denver, yes.
You gotta have those guys. And Ish Smith wouldn't even mind being super situational.
Yeah.
And Clyde would be happy.
Yeah.
I think that's something that the Knicks are working on getting better at. You know, like I was saying earlier with them picking up like Taj and Burks. And I think Burks' game has gotten a lot better compared to when he was originally a Knick. But I agree with Ebony. I never liked Burks when he played the point. And you could tell Burks didn't want to play the point, but he had no other choice. Kind of like when Grimes had no other choice but to start. Burks had no choice. Then he never looked comfortable bringing up the ball. I never liked the way he brought up the ball. It was always very close to the floor, but always looked like someone could just easily swat it away. And that's why I agree with what she was saying earlier with like, who do you really have to back up Brunson? And this is where I question the front office. Like, they have to do a better job bringing in those Kyle Lowry type of, as an example, but somebody like that who I would have felt a lot more comfortable with limited minutes helping to bring up that ball up the floor.
Right.
So I don't know. I just think that sometimes I don't know where's that. Why do the Knicks just resort to that like very lower tier of a player sometimes that they grab? Like I get it when sometimes it's like, okay, you took Burks and Bogdanovich, the contract wise it worked out, but like I don't know. You could have grabbed Burks and maybe swapped them out and got somebody else who would have been a better backup point to Brunson. So I just think that's something that the front office has to be better at when they, are trying to grab in those players to set up the roster so we have the full amount of guys. But, don't be desperate either. Don't be desperate.
We people picking players off our roster, the G League roster. Jalen just got picked up. What's his name? Noel. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
We got them in the backyard. We ain't looking at them.
Nah, they can have anybody on that G League team. In my opinion.
They looking.
I think we passed that.
I don't know. Just as insurance, I don't know. Did somebody? What is that? Apollo mentioned John Wall. I don't. John Wall, no.
Nah, it's done.
Yeah, and you got to want to play that role. John Wall still thinks he's John Wall of
nah.
But I mean, if you're playing 10 minutes in the second, so what?
We did that.
If you already
with Kimba.
I was going to say that.
We already did that experiment with Kimba. No.
As soon as I saw that, John, it was triggering. That's what I thought of. It was triggering.
There's players on the wave wire that we can get. We got 2 roster spots open. Who should we get?
As I said, I like Ish. I take Ish. You could since they like.
Ish ain't no defender either. Ish is an offensive player.
Yeah, I just want Ish for the playmaking ability. That's it. Just somebody else to help get other people in rhythm in case McBride doesn't get better in that point. And I really don't want point guard Burks. I don't want that. I really don't want
I will say this. If John Wall is healthy, he can do the same thing Ish Smith can do and knock down some baskets. If he's healthy. Ish Smith, I like Ish Smith too. He ain't no defender.
But it says something about John Wall and nobody picked him up.
Right. He may not be healthy. Nobody, but everybody you could say that about everybody that's on the waiver wire right now. Nobody has picked them up. That's why they on the waiver wire.
I think if you're a veteran, an outspoken veteran, they'll do without you. Somebody that can get the locker room in a frenzy, type of person. Like you see the Lou Wills, you see the Boogie Cousins, you see them out the league, and you could play. They could get us 9-10 minutes. We got Ryan. I ain't even gotta say his name no more. We had Ryan A. Like Boogie could get some minutes, things of that nature. But I always say that the NBA really has it against outspoken vets.
Look at Melo.
Yeah, the Melo, definitely. Somebody who can come in there and influence the locker room. They're like, nah, B. We do
JR too. JR left kind of early.
Yeah, nobody wanted to
we at a 105. Appreciate everybody. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so.
Yes.
Any last and then top right of the screen, you see the QR code. You want to give me a cup of coffee? Just put your phone right up to the QR code, and then tap. Alexa, chill. And
Alexa
want coffee too, right?
Put your phone right up. For those that don't know, go to your camera. Take a pic. You don't even just put the camera right up to the QR code. For those who don't know, that might be why Brunson didn't get into the All-Star game. We might be challenged. I'm hearing. Go to the phone app. Put it up to this QR code in the top. Well, my top right. It might be my top right.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Hit the link and buy me a cup of coffee. I appreciate it. And I'll know because I'm getting a ding. Thank you, A-Train. A-Train bought me a cup of coffee and somebody else bought me a cup of coffee.
You got to split it like 5 ways, though.
5 different ways, right? I appreciate you, A-Train. I think it was somebody else. But
you take a shot.
Right, right. Any last words?
Let's go Knicks.
Thank you. Enjoy myself again. It's always fun.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I'm glad I got on.
Yes, I'm glad you got on too.
Yeah.
I had to come looking for you on Facebook. I'm like, how am I gonna get in touch with Pam? Then I'm like, oh yeah, we friends on Facebook. I could just send a message. So thank you for dropping by.
No problem.
Right.
Go Knicks.
Let's go Knicks.
We'll get back together and yeah, for sure. We'll get back together in what is this, February? In March. Just kind of third Wednesday of the month I'm targeting, but I have yet to look at the calendar, to be honest, to see if whether or not the Knicks play. If they do, then we'll move it, we'll move it around. I appreciate the chat, everybody rocking with us. Hopefully you appreciate the content, and hopefully the content was no different than you would hear if it was all guys up here, because we get down like that. This how we rock. Right. Lady and the Chef, Ebony, BxChris, Pam. I appreciate you all, and to the chat, those watching, to the replay gang. Until next time.
You tune in, that means you're feeling the vibe. The bell rung, you already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live. Please pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope soul, sporting with the talk. First lady from New York, Brooklyn. All my people, you rocking with the chat. Hit that. The like button would tell me where you at. Step from the MBK. Born and raised up MBK. Hey, real lady, where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine.
her. Where you at?
Don't